Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another installment of our kids' drive on a Saturday afternoon here in sunny South Africa. As you can see, we've got some kudu that have joined us for the start of the day. My name is Tristan. On camera, I've got Craig this afternoon, and it is a very warm welcome to all of you. Now, I hope that you're going to have the best time as you follow us around for the next hour and we explore South Africa's best treasures here in the Sabi Sand Game Reserve. Now, remember, while we are driving around, that you can talk to us, and so you're going to need to ask your parents to send through any questions that you have, and they can send it through to natgeokids@wildearth.tv. And it's important that you ask your parents or your older siblings to do so. Now, what we've got at the moment is a whole bunch of kudu that are just sitting and taking it very easy. Most of them are positioned themselves in a little bit of shade because it's quite a warm afternoon today. We've had some bad weather the last few days, and it's meant that the animals have been able to move around all over the place. But today, the sun has come out and we're back into our springtime, and so it feels nice and warm. And basically, these kudu, because it's quite hot and they're covered in fur, they need to find themselves some shade. And so when they do find themselves some shade during the hot part of the day, what they'll end up doing is often just ruminating or just feeding very close to where they're standing. And the reason why they do this is because walking around and kind of moving and trying to find food in this heat will cause their body temperature to go up quite a bit. And so instead, if they just sit still where there's a bit of shade, they can then have a very special technique where they regurgitate of food that they put into their mouth, and then they chew it, and that's called ruminating. So it is quite a special thing that they do. Right, now I'm not the only one out here. My friend Taylor is with me, and she's found a feathered friend and wants to say hello.
We have found a feathered friend who'd like to say hello this afternoon, and it is a bird called a hornbill. Now that is a red-billed hornbill. I'm not a red-billed hornbill. Well, my name is Taylor and I'm a human, and David is also on camera with us and he's also a human. Now, it's great to have all of you kids watching us today, and I hope that you're ready to, well, ask us some questions. So remember to ask your parents, who will do all the typing for you, and they'll send them on through. So, look at this bird. It's pecking in the poop. And the reason why it's doing that is because it's looking for something to eat. Now, that is rhinoceros poop, actually. Which is quite cool because you don't get to see rhinos very often. And I don't know what's in there. There could be little beetles, there could be some flies, there could be termites. Looks like there's lots of flies buzzing around its head. So it's trying to eat all the little insects that have gone into that dung so that they can feed. So there's lots of animals out here that like to eat poop, especially the insects. And this is great stuff because it's not really all digested. You see that? You can see some bits and pieces of grass still. So this kind of says to me that it was a white rhino that was here. Oh, it ran off to find something else. What else have you got there? See how it uses its long beak to spread open all the dung? And then I love the way when it finds something that they throw their heads back and then open their beaks and catch it in their mouth. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to throw a skittle or a raisin or something up into the air and catch it in your mouth. I'm not very good at it, and I used to try and practice when I was little. Still not very good. And these birds do it so easily, I'm jealous. So there's even some little beetles called dung beetles, but I haven't been seeing too many of them at this time of the year. And I think all the insects, as we get to the end of spring, will start to come out, because hopefully we'll have a little bit of rain. Now, it seems as though we're going to be looking at a lot of different birds today here in South Africa. Tristan has got one of the coolest birds in Africa.
We do have one of the coolest birds on our kudus, so our kudus are still sitting still, but you might find every now and then there's a little bit of movement on the kudu, and that's a type of bird that often is on the animals. It's called a red-billed oxpecker, and oxpeckers are incredibly important for the kudu because they help to manage the parasites that the kudu has. So things like ticks that get onto this kudu, these little oxpeckers will bound up and down, and they'll be able to grab on those kind of ticks and feed off them, and they keep the kudu's coat nice and clean. They'll also get little parasites out of the ears, around the noses, and so it really is a helpful little bird to have around. And you can see that's why the kudu is pretty tolerant of them. If it was something that hurt the kudu, you would find the kudu would not just sit still. It would try and move around and kind of shake them off. Every now and then, if they get too close to the eyes, you'll find the kudu will shake its head. But otherwise, it's quite happy for these oxpeckers just to go up and down and clean them off. At the end of the day, they need to stay nice and clean, and so if they've got a bird that does it for them, well, that's very, very helpful. Now, what's interesting is that particular kudu, you can see it looks almost happy, doesn't it, about the kind of cleaning that's going on, except when they go deep into the ear, then the kudu doesn't really like it too much. You'll find then it will kind of shake it off and try to get them out of those ears. And talking about those ears, kudus really do have big ears in relation to the size of their head. We often see a lot of animals out here, and each animal will have different type of sense that will allow it to survive out here. And so kudus, because of where they generally like to hang around, they like to be in the thick, dense areas where there's lots of trees. They need their sense to detect predators more than they need anything else. And so really big ears to be able to help them hear what's going on around them and to make sure that they stay safe out here when there's lots of lions and leopards and things that like to eat them. So it's a very clever thing to have a big ear. It also helps a little bit with losing heat. The bigger the ear, the more that the heat can be given off through the wind blowing over that ear and cooling the blood, and so it just helps to manage the heat a little bit as well. Now what's interesting is it looks like this kudu, all the two kudu on the left hand side that you can see, the two females, they both look like they're pregnant. There actually is a little male that's coming now as well. But the one closest to us, right, there's the male at the moment between the two females. And so that one on the right-hand side and the one closest to us are both look like they have little babies inside. And so generally we find with the antelope species is that they will give birth to their babies in the summer months here in South Africa. And now summer is not like the summer in the northern hemisphere over June, July and that time. Our summer is actually November, December, January, February. And so they will be giving birth around those months. And that's because when our summer comes, all the rain comes. And that means this whole area gets green and the trees all get leaves. You can see at the moment the trees are completely lacking in leaves. They don't have any sign of greenery, and it's very difficult for the animals. And so they wouldn't want to have a baby now where the baby struggles to find food. It's better to have the babies during times where there's lots of vegetation, because then those babies can find food, and also they can hide a lot better away from predators. So you'll find that most of our antelope, our hoofed animals like the kudu and all the others out here, will probably be pregnant at this time or have little babies inside them, and they'll be giving birth from about November is normally when we start to see it, all the way through until about March, April is when we see the last ones of these kind of antelopes. So it should be a good kind of time ahead. Both prey and predators will eagerly await the rains that come, because the predators often know that when rains arrive, it's right time of this year when they start to have babies, and much easier for them to hunt the babies than it is these big adults. And you can see the little male at the moment, his horns are still tiny, if you can believe it. Kudus have probably one of the most incredible sets of horns out of any of the antelope that we get out here. Horns that start to kind of come out like this male here, and then they start to twist and turn, and they can get as big as 6 foot off of that kudu's head, which is very, very, very big. It's about the same size as what I am, and funny enough, you can actually use a kudu's horns to age them. So here we go. I'll show you now. One of our viewers who watches the show regularly, Project Alpha, he's put together a really nice sort of chart on kudus and their ages. Now, I do apologize if you can't see very nicely, but basically you can see the horns on these kudus, and it tells you roughly how old they are. So the kudu that we're looking at is probably fits into this category, which is about 15 months old. So he's probably around that age. And then as you see, look, as they get older, so the horns start to curl and move, and then eventually they get right down to the bottom when they're over 7 years. Look at how impressive those horns are. Absolutely amazing set of horns. So the kudu really is a very, very, very beautiful animal as a big adult male. So, you know, this guy's still got a long way to go. It's why he's still with the females. If he were a big dominant male, you would have found that he would be mating with them, and then he would move off and hang around on his own. It's only when he's still young like this does he hang around with his mother, and once his mother has her next calf, then he'll probably be pushed out and start to then go off on his own, and he'll have to then start to grow and develop his horns until he's big and strong enough to actually start mating with the females, and also challenge the other males. And normally with the kudu male, that's anywhere from about 3.5 to 5 years old until they're able to get a girlfriend. Good. Now, Taylor seems to be in a birding mood this afternoon, and she's found probably one of the most beautiful birds that we get to see out here.
Tristan, I don't know if I have any choice but to do birds this afternoon, but we have found a very pretty bird. And it is... what bird is it? It's a Burchell starling. That's what it is. I was just testing myself. No, it's sitting up in that tree, trying to keep out of the hot African sun. And it's telling all sorts of stories today. Let's listen to it. No, of course it's not going to say anything. See? It's the storyteller today, as it also cleans its feathers. Now, it's very important that this bird keeps its feathers nice and clean, because if it doesn't, it's not going to be able to fly as well. And they can get quite dirty throughout the day, so all those feathers have got these tiny little hooks on them. And I wish I had a feather to demonstrate, but I don't. But those hooks come undone, and when that bird runs its beak along the feathers, excuse me, a bird was not impressed with my version of his story. He runs his beak through the feathers, and then all those little hooks line up again, and then it's fine, and then they can fly, and then it's all nice and neat. Excuse me, everybody, sorry. I've got the sneezes. Yes, many sneezes today. But it is just there. I wonder where its friends are. Normally you see these birds in groups. I think it's lost. Oh, this one just doesn't have any friends. It's going to have to work a little bit harder if it wants to find some other bird friends. Maybe that's why he's shouting. He's calling for his friends. Hey, Bob! Bethany! Where are you? I'm here. Who knows? It's been quite windy. Ah, hello, Lily. Now, you've said that the last of the swallows have left, did you say south of England or New England? I didn't quite hear that, Louise. Sorry, my ears are very blocked. Southeast England, and you said that they're coming to visit us. Well, thank you, Lily. Some of the swallows have indeed started to arrive, but I'll keep an eye out for any more newcomers. Now you can see, look how beautiful the feathers are. Look at all those different colours. Blues and pinks, and it even looks like there's a little bit of gold on this bird today with the way that the light is working those feathers. Isn't that beautiful? They're very pretty birds. Now that is called iridescence, to have on their feathers. So depending where they are, it'll be different colours in the sun. Normally they're a beautiful bluish, and they do have a lot of purple on them. But you know what I saw a little bit earlier, and that's where we're headed to now. I promise I'm not just going to show you all birds the entire afternoon, is that I saw an elephant a little while ago. So we're going to try and find that elephant. We're going to head down in that direction. Now, Tristan, I know, is looking for a leopard by the name of Hosanna, and because it's been a hot day, I think it's good that he's checking all the watering holes.
Well, I am looking in case Hosanna is around. So Hosanna is a young male leopard that we see quite a lot. I'm sure maybe some of you have even seen him before on our show. And so he was south of our boundary this morning, and he was on a impala kill that was almost finished. And so normally when a leopard finishes its meal, it will make its way to a water point to come and have a drink. Now, it might be a little early in the day for that. He might only come this evening when it cools down a little bit, and then make his way here. So it doesn't seem like he's here at the moment. But what you can see is that this water is really starting to dry up. We are desperately in need of some proper rain. We've had a few years of very bad rains that have caused a bad drought, and so we've got really not much water around at all, and it's making it difficult for the animals because the animals require a lot of water, and you can see there how the mud is drying up in this little dam. If we don't get proper rain within the next probably week or two, we're not going to have any water left here at all. Oh, there's a little butterfly that's getting some of the nutrients from the mud. So you will find butterflies will come out and feed off the edges of drying water. They will find all kinds of minerals and salts that are stuck on the mud itself, and they actually then will drink from there and kind of absorb some of those minerals that are otherwise quite tricky for them to get. You can also see there's a lot of algae in that water, so it's not the freshest of water and not water really that the animals want to drink. But when you're desperate and there's no other water around, they will. Now that algae is developed because a lot of animals have come here to drink and they've then gone to the toilet in the water. So they've dropped their dung, particularly things like elephant, buffalo and hippos, and those animals then mean that that dung starts to break down, and algae, as the area shrinks and no fresh water comes in, starts to populate, and it causes that kind of green thick scum to form around the edges. So not ideal for animals to drink here anymore. In fact, if it gets too bad, sometimes that algae can even potentially poison the water and make it dangerous for animals to drink. But nothing here at the moment. It seems as though everything is kind of just taking it easy in the shade still. It's still a warm part of the day, and so we're going to try and just check around. I'm going to go past roughly where our leopard was, and maybe we get lucky and we can actually see a glimpse of him somewhere. I think, though, given he's going to have a big full tummy, is that he's probably going to be quite sleepy, and he's going to be under a shady tree somewhere having a really good nap, because you know, when a leopard is full and there's no reason to move after a kill, then he'll wait rather until it gets a little bit cooler and darker before he decides to move around. So I don't think we're going to see our male leopard just yet. Maybe a little bit later, as that sun starts to come down a little bit and the wind starts to cool the day, then we might get lucky and have a look. It's important, though, when driving to these areas, just to stop and check at each of the pathways, because sometimes you'll find tracks for a leopard moving around. And actually, funny enough, this morning, what's that? There's a track there that I didn't see this morning, so let's just double check here. There's pathways that run to this water hole that sometimes will have tracks on them. No, that's not a track that we are looking for. It was just a couple impalas stood in a funny way, and it made it look almost like a paw, but it's just impala tracks, which is a type of antelope that we get out here. No, nothing there. And I was saying earlier that actually this morning there was tracks for a male lion here, so it's gone. So sorry, Louise, can you just repeat the name there for me, please? Ah, Beck, yes, no, that water is not suitable for Hosanna. Hosanna needs much better water than that. Now, I was saying earlier that we did have lion tracks here this morning. Unfortunately, this lion went very, very far away, way beyond where we can actually go and see him. But yet, his tracks are around, and so I will show you them quickly. You can just see them on the right side of the road here, coming up and along that pathway. So he went towards the water. There is his track there. You can see he's got a very kind of deep back lobe area. So on the left side of that picture is where the back lobes are. That's the kind of back of his foot, and then his toes are on the front side. Now, the track itself looks quite nice because it's smooth and the sand around it is all pitted with rain, but rain was about 2 days ago, so you can't read too much into that. And so we know that that track was probably from last night, early last night, because when I followed the track, there was actually tracks for little nighttime creatures on top of it. So, you know, if you see something like a genet or a civet track on top of a lion track, you know it's early in the night that they walked. But what I'm going to do is show you a better picture on a book so that you can actually see what we're really talking about and how we tell the difference between a male and a female. Now, if you look here, this top track here is a female. Now, these are very small tracks for a lion, obviously not real size tracks. A real size lion track would be, as you saw on the ground, very, very big. But these are the three lobes that I'm talking about over here. You also see that their toes are quite spread apart, very big oval shaped toes, and you see no claws that mark on the front, so a nice clean track. But when you get a female lion, it has a very rounded edge. A female lion has this kind of line that comes up, and the track down here comes up. And if you take a line from the edge of that track and you come across, and a line from the bottom here and you come across, it makes a cross there. Whereas if you come to a male lion track, which is the one lower down, you'll see that on the edges, if you follow the line around, it actually forms a nice neat circle on the edges of those tracks. And so that's how you can tell a male and a female apart. Also, the male's toes generally are a lot bigger, and the actual size of the track is much larger in a male than it is in a female. But a really nice example of kind of tracks. And so this poor lion, unfortunately, like I say, he walked a long way last night. I don't know where he was off to. But anyway, we're going to carry on. We're going to try to see maybe our leopard did come this way. While we check, let's send you across to Taylor with one of the tallest animals in Africa.
Look at what we've got. It is a beautiful giraffe just hiding behind all the trees this afternoon. But that's what giraffes like to do, is because they like to eat leaves. So it makes sense that he's moving around trying to find as many leaves as he can, because there aren't very many tasty ones around at the moment. In the next few weeks there's going to be lots of new green leaves, and all the animals that eat leaves, we call them browsers, will be very happy. But how cool is that he's using his tongue? He's been, look at it, stretching it all the way up. Looks like he is trying to eat some new leaves that were starting to grow on that tree. Although they don't stand a chance against that giraffe, he'll eat them all up. Now, the reason that I can tell that he is a boy is if you look very carefully, hopefully he'll... No, he's being rude. Now he's hiding away. We'll see if he turns to the left a little bit. Let me go back. Oh, no, I think he's come out into the open now. Oh, there we go. So you just got to be a little bit patient. See those things on top of his head? Those aren't horns. Those are called ossicones. And the girls have got long black tufts of hair on the tops of their ossicones, where the boys, they're clean shaven. So you can see it's almost like they're bald just on the top. So that's an easy way to tell the difference. And the boys get much bigger than the girls. They get much bigger necks. They weigh more. And they're also taller, a little bit taller than the girls too. It doesn't look like he's even eating anything. But he is. He's just eating a few leaves. Now, I bet that every single one of you would be able to walk underneath a giraffe's belly without even touching. I think I could also probably walk underneath its legs and not have any problem with banging my head. I don't even think I'd have to do the limbo underneath that giraffe. You can't see how tall he is now because he's very camouflaged in there. And all the animals out here have some kind of camouflage. And it's important for their survival. So I kind of like the fact that the giraffe actually look like trees. He's just nibbling away. We might even see him a bit later. He might go for a drink of water. I can't say her name. Louise, please. Parthix. Oh, Carsick. There we go. No, I heard something else. So there were quite a few. Recently just narrowed it down, but the two types of giraffe that you can see on SafariLive or while watching us is this one, which is the southern giraffe. And then unfortunately we're not out in Kenya today, but if we were, you'd also see the Maasai giraffe. And the Maasai giraffe is the biggest of all the giraffe species, which is pretty cool. But the southern giraffe is the most common giraffe throughout Africa. They've got the widest distribution, so you see them in lots and lots of different places. So most of the time, if you're going to see one, you'll see one of these guys. And the girls are not quite as dark as the boys, but that goes for all the giraffes, all the different types of giraffes. We're going to carry on because it's getting difficult to see him now. Oh, I've got a paintbrush in my hand because I was cleaning. Look, how cool is that? Very nice. Get rid of all the dust. Okay, let me put my paintbrush back. Okay, we haven't forgotten though. We're still looking for our elephant, so that's where we're going to go now, is focus our search on finding a big grey giant. Tristan is going to an even bigger watering hole.
I am heading to a bigger one. That one that we were at now is just a dire situation. There's really not much going on there, and it's about to dry up, so we're going to head to the biggest waterhole that we have in the entire Sabi Sands Game Reserve, which is where we are. And so we're going to try and see if anything is happening there. Given that it's nice and warm, I would expect that there might be some things that are lurking around. Definitely reckon we'll find some hippos. Maybe we'll get lucky with a crocodile, and maybe anything else like eddies or some other animals coming to drink. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like our leopard has come back our side yet. He still seems to be on the other side of the road and kind of southwards, so on this side, which is where we can't go. And so we're going to have to wait for him to decide to wander over, which I would hope would be this evening. Late this evening, you might find he decides he's going to try and walk when it just gets a little bit on the cooler side. So we have a bit of a long road ahead of us. We've got to drive straight down this very, very straight road, and we've got to head towards a driveway and then turn down. Now, well, what is the temperature here at the moment? I think it is 26 degrees Celsius. Am I right, Louise? I think I remember 26 degrees Celsius, which would be about, no, 29, that's right. 29 and 85 Fahrenheit. Thank you, Louise. So Louise helps us out with our weather, because us guides, we get a little bit confused about these things. So I knew it had a kind of 6-like figure in there. It just was an upside down 6. Now, before we actually head on to this waterhole, sorry, I just want to check here quickly. This morning I had a very, very brief view of a very special animal called a genet that was living in its home, and we call this genet Janet Jackson, after a famous singer. And so we're going to try and see if Janet Jackson is going to give us a view today. There isn't a Janet just yet, but what I can see is on the sort of V of the tree, Craig, can you see there's a lizard there that is going up the tree? So go straight in, Craig. There we go. You see the little lizard on the edge of the bark on the left-hand side of the tree, on the right side of that left stump, if that makes any sense. So straight in the middle there, Craig, there it is. There is our little skink by the looks of things. Yes, a side-striped skink that is going up and is probably going to try and get into that hole. You'll find that the reptiles today will actually be quite active. A lot of them will be out and about and trying to get some sunshine where they can then get their blood warm, and then they can start going and looking for food. And a skink of this size would be looking for all kinds of little insects that might be on this dead tree. So ants would be probably one of the targets, but it would have to be very careful, because the animal that I was talking about, the genet that is living inside here in this tree, will eat that little skink very quickly if the skink goes too close. And so it'll have to be a little careful, that skink. Don't go inside the tree, because otherwise you're going to get eaten. You must stay on the outside. Yes, it's listening to us at the moment. So just below where the skink is sitting, there's a little hole in the tree, and that's where Janet Jackson actually lives. Now, Monique, you say cute little skink. It is a cute little lizard, isn't it? Very, very common out here. We see lots and lots and lots of them. They tend to hang around all over the place, and they like to live around there. And you'll find them also in any sort of dead trees. They like to kind of lie in between the bark and the dead tree and try and kind of just hide out for the most part and then hunt insects. But particularly anywhere where there's a camp, you'll find a lot of them. They go to the light sources and try and actually kind of find elements of food around light. But there it goes, up it goes. Actually, just trying to see if there's any food sources that we can potentially actually see on the tree itself. Doesn't look like it though, does it? No. Right, no, nothing here. I'm going to have a quick little look here for 2 seconds if the genet is home, because you have to get a little bit alongside it, so it'll take us 2 seconds to see if genet is going to give us a view. Normally on this lowest little hole over there. No, so no sign of our genet today, and so because there's no sign of the genet, I'm going to send you across to Taylor, who managed to find what she was looking for.
We did. How cool is that? We thought we weren't going to find him because he was walking in all the bushes. And we don't go chasing after elephants off-road. We stay on the road. And I'm wondering where he's going. Are you going to go to the pan? Hopefully he will. So this is a beautiful elephant bull. I'll say he's a boy. And I'm trying to think. It does look like he's been in the water, but maybe he was in the water a little bit earlier today. I think that could be the case, because he looks a little bit dark around his head. You see, his trunk and just below his eyes are a completely different color. Well, I think he was maybe in the water. Maybe he's come from the big dam that Tristan's going to. And that's like the only dam that the animals can swim at the moment. But he's also looking for something to eat, just like that giraffe. But elephants don't just eat leaves. Unlike the giraffe, they eat a bit of everything. They eat all different types of plants. And what he's doing now is actually even eating the small. They eat fruit, they eat leaves, they eat grass, they eat lots and lots of different things. Maxie, well, you and I have got a thing in common. Elephants are also my favorite animal. I do enjoy watching them, and whenever I get the opportunity to sit and enjoy the presence of an elephant, I will spend as much time as I can. So now he's just eating small kind of sticks at the moment, so that's not really going to be too delicious. Now, the reason why elephants have to also eat so much, can you imagine, to get to that size, you're going to have to eat lots of food all day long. They don't have a very, very good digestive system. They only digest about 5% of their food. So, not 5%, 40% of their food, and they have to eat 5% of their body weight every single day. So for this elephant over here, he's probably eating about anywhere between, I don't know, 350 and 500 pounds of food every single day. And when there's not a lot of leaves and grass around, it's a lot of twigs that you got to eat. That's crazy. I don't think I'd like to eat sticks, or that many sticks. And what I really am hoping that he's going to do is, because it is so hot, is that he's going to move a little bit further to the west. And in the west is a small pan with lovely fresh water that he can drink from. And he might even splash some over his body. And that's one of the most amazing things to watch, is to watch elephants have a bath. And if the water is deep enough, and Tristan might be able to show you today, elephants swimming, if there's a herd that does come down. But we'll have to see, won't we? Monique, I agree with you. Elephants do have a very calming sort of aura about them. They're so relaxing most of the time. Sometimes you can get an elephant that's a little, and then they'll just tell you that they're unhappy with you, and then, well, you've just got to respect them and move away, because most of the time they are very, very chilled like this and don't even care. I'm hoping he'll come right up to us. Sometimes the elephant bulls can be quite curious, and he is slowly feeding in this direction. But who knows how long he'll stand there for. He could stand there and decide he's going to eat that whole plant if he wanted to. That's why the plants have also got to be able to protect themselves. They sometimes have chemicals in them that make the leaves and things don't taste nice, and sometimes they've got thorns and spines. Maxie, I also wonder how old he is. Unfortunately, I couldn't tell you how old this elephant bull is. And the reason for that is because he doesn't have a birth certificate. He didn't tell us. And I can't see it written anywhere on him, so I can guess how old he is. I would say he is an elephant that is between 30 and 35 years old, somewhere around there. So he's big, but he's not enormous just yet. There will be some other elephants out there that are even bigger and stronger than he is. So he's actually still got some growing to do. See, now he's breaking off some. Let's see what he does. No, he didn't like that one. He broke it and then he didn't even eat it. That's mean. But all the other elephants have already been feeding on those trees. That's why they're broken like that. There are not many trees or animals out here that can push trees over. But a big old elephant can do that with absolute ease. Now, Tristan is doing a little Saturday afternoon bumble. He's taking his time to get down to the watering hole. Maybe he's got some news, and he's going to wait for the elephants to get there.
Well, no, not that. I am taking my time a little bit. I've been searching very carefully just to make sure nothing has been creeping around during the day, that we miss the signs of their footprints. But what we have found is 2 baby waterbuck that are busy walking. And I think that these 2 are heading towards the dam that we're going to, because they're walking in the same direction as we're traveling. And if they cross this road, or there's a little duiker in the background, so you saw another little antelope that ran across, that's called a duiker, which is one of our small antelopes. And these little waterbuck should be heading, like I say, towards the water itself. So I think if we just wait and be patient, we'll be able to see them down at the water point. I'm worried as to why there's no adults with them. Maybe the adults are just further ahead. Now, there is a third antelope here that is quite tricky to see. But, Craig, do you see this big marula on our right-hand side with the leaves on it? Just to the bottom right of that marula, there is actually a little antelope that is moving around in there. And can you see its ears just on the left side of there it is, just on the left side of the tree itself? So that is called a little steenbok. And that we see in this particular area. It's not the smallest antelope in the Kruger Park, but the smallest antelope around these parts. And that is a fully grown big male. So he's a daddy antelope, and he's still tiny in comparison to the rest. He's very, very, very small. But you also notice big ears, little sharp horns that they'll use to fight one another in order to establish territory and to be able to get themselves females. And you'll find that they like to walk around in these little grassy areas where they can camouflage very, very well. And I'm pretty sure that this guy is trying to find some shade just to try and rest in. It's so hot out here that I doubt he wants to kind of get out of this shade and really doesn't want to move too far. Interesting, though, that this particular animal, these little steenbok, they probably are the best animals for dry periods. Whereas the waterbuck in the background, as you see it disappearing on the top right of your screen, those waterbuck there, they're not in any way good with dry conditions. They need water to survive, as the name suggests. They need to be close to water in order to use it to evade predators, but also they require a fair amount of water every day. Whereas the little steenbok that we saw, that little one doesn't even actually have to go to water. It will get its water content from the grass. So in the mornings when it's a little bit cooler, sometimes there'll be a little bit of moisture that develops on the grass itself. Dew off the grass, and that will be enough to keep this little antelope alive. And it's why you can find steenbok in even the driest places like a desert. That is just watching us at the moment. Now, there should be a female somewhere here. Generally, when you see a male, a female should be lurking in the same sort of area. They are animals that do form a bond, like a marriage, that they will stay together for life, unless, of course, something like a leopard or a cheetah comes along and takes one of them. Then, of course, they have to look for another partner. But otherwise, they do stay together for life, which is pretty cool. I'm going to try and see if I can get a little closer. Maybe we'll be able to get a better view. He seems like he's quite relaxed. He's kind of looking at us, but he might let us just get a little closer. There we go. Now you can see he's just kind of watching us from behind the tree. Yes, we see you. Very cool to see. Now he's not sure whether to run or to stay. You see, look at the nose. The nose is sniffing us, trying to see, are we a threat? Are we something that he needs to worry about? Once he's worked out whether or not we're a threat, he'll then kind of figure out what he's going to do. And by the looks of it, he's decided we are not a threat and is therefore going to just sit and groom himself and not worry too much at all. Very cool. Right, from our smallest herbivore that we have out here, back to Taylor with our largest.
So we've worked out that this is actually a very grumpy elephant. I think it's because he's very hungry. And he came over and he told us that he didn't like us being here. But it was very rude. So we just told him that we don't like that kind of behavior. And then he walked away. So now we're not talking to one. Just pretending that we're not even here at the moment. You can see he's not too keen on eating that brown, old, dry grass. He's like, I'd rather eat the twigs. Siddharth, yes, I do think the elephants have a hard time in the dry season, but I suppose they're kind of used to it, you know, especially the elephants that live up in this area. So in like the northeastern parts of South Africa, where the winter times there's very little rain and most of the time virtually no rain. So everything kind of dies around it, or at least goes dormant, because a lot of the grasses are actually still alive. It's just their roots that are keeping them going underneath the ground, and the top parts of the plants are basically just died. But as soon as some rain comes around, it will all be regenerated and will grow quite quickly. But luckily for the elephants, they've got some I suppose special adaptations that can help them make it through the dry season. So those tusks, those are really good for digging and for pushing over trees, not just that, but also just their big strength in their strong trunks, so they can dig for things underneath the ground, from water to roots to bulbs. And you can see what he's doing now is he's using his trunk, which has also got very, very tough skin, thick skin, and he's moving the thorn to try and see if there's any nice green grass that's underneath those plants. Yeah, how clever is that? But I don't think he's winning today. See, he's moving right on in there. You can hear all that stuff being pulled around. So he eats lots of different things, and all the different plants out here have got different types of nutrients and proteins and carbohydrates and all those types of things. So it's important that he has a varied diet. He eats a lot of different things, but at different times of the year they'll eat different things too. See, look how strong he is. Clever, hey? He's picking that up and now he's moving it right out of the way. So if he goes and he feeds along the drainage lines, which he's going to now, he might get lucky and find some jackalberry fruit, which is so tasty and filled with sugar. I think he'll be happy to have that extra energy. Otherwise, there's not really much. And then the knobthorns are starting to get their leaves, and so are their marula trees. Ali, I don't think elephants are necessarily afraid, especially the big elephants, but they're careful. So of course they'll be nervous of lions and leopards and wild dogs and hyenas. So the carnivores, they don't like them. Not that they are at risk, especially a big fully grown elephant, but their babies can definitely be eaten by those predators. So they'll try and chase them away. They just don't like them around. I've even seen lions trying to catch a buffalo before, and then an elephant came in and chased the lions away and saved the buffalo. So they seem to try and help the other animals when they can. Now he's moving into a place where we can't. I don't want to move around too much because I know he's going to come out. He's going to charge out of the bushes and tell us how angry he is. But he's just moving all the thorn trees out of the way, and he's still looking for the nice grass. But he doesn't. He looks so upset with himself that he's put it in all that time, and there hasn't actually been any grass that he's been able to eat. I don't actually think there'll be much green grass hidden away. We haven't had any rain, so it'll be very, very dry now. It's more like straw. Pushing through some small trees now. I'm sure that's helping him and giving him a bit of a back scratch as well. Right, Tristan has finally made it down to Chitwa to the dam. I'm sure you're going to see lots and lots of hippos.
Yes, lots and lots of hippos, Taylor. So we have, as far as I can see already, over 35 hippos in the dam at the moment, which is a lot. I know because I've spent a lot of time in this particular area, and I've spent a lot of time at this particular dam, given that I used to work at this lodge, and so I used to be here every single day. So anything over 20 hippos for this particular sort of waterhole is a lot, and I reckon there must be easily 40 because I can't see round the bend towards where there's another area. So I reckon there's a good healthy population, and the reason why is simply because it's so dry. There's really very little places for these hippos to go, and so as the water shrinks in their normal area, they then have to get out and start walking and trying spot to go and sit and to get out of the sun. Remember that a hippo is very much like us as people. They do not have a lot of hair on their body. They kind of got very little hair, and that means that the sun is hugely damaging to them. It's not good for them at all. They unfortunately will suffer from sunburn and dehydration exactly like us as humans do. So as we kind of sit in the sun, we go pink and we burn, and it's not very comfortable. The same will happen with a hippo, and that's why they try and find water during the day. It's just to sink their body in, keeps their skin hydrated, and it also allows them just to keep out of the sun a little bit more. And so what you'll find with these hippos is the whole day will be like this. At night, though, they're going to come out and they're going to begin to feed. They're going to start looking for all kinds of grasses that they can feed on. And actually, if you look around the dam, it's quite interesting. If you look towards the sort of open area, that's the clear the sort of left side of the dam, these hippos would have been out so much that they've actually grazed all the grass completely in this area. There's really very little grass. You can see it looks almost like a big sandy patch, and that's because the hippos have gone up and down and literally eaten everything that there is around here. So between them and a couple of the grazers like the waterbuck, they've kind of destroyed this area. Now what I can also see, I think, is a crocodile. Craig, do you see right on the edge of the water here? There looks like a little crocodile. Now, Kozada, when do we expect to see rain? Well, our rain should... There's our little crocodile. I think it's a crocodile. Is it a crocodile? Yes, it is a crocodile. And we should get rain... Hello, hippos. Let's see if any more talk. So that's them just having a little chat to themselves. Now, the rain should theoretically start coming in. We should get a decent rain. Normally in October we get a fairly good rain that just starts the growth process, starts to get everything a little bit greener. The trees start to get their leaves, but the majority of our rainfall lately in the last couple of years has fallen between sort of end of January and late April. That's generally where we get most of our rain at the moment. It used to be actually two different seasons. We used to get a rain period in September, October, then it would be quite hot and dry, and then it would kind of more rain would come January, February, March. But it's changed a little bit. It seems as though things have shifted slightly, and so we get more rain towards the sort of beginning of the year rather than the end of the year. And I can say that if we do not get good rains in the next month, it's going to be a very trying time for a lot of animals, because what's happening at the moment is the heat is starting to soar and the temperatures out here are going to get hotter and hotter, and that means things like grass and leaves are going to get burnt by the sun because there's no moisture in them, there's no water to rejuvenate those plants, and that means that the animals really struggle to find good food. On top of it, we're also going to get lack of water for animals to drink, and that makes it very tricky for the animals to survive, and so we do need a good rain to try and kind of get everything sorted out. It's vitally important for this ecosystem that we get rain, and so hopefully this year will be a much better rain. There you can see one of the hippos that is just turning around. Lots of Egyptian geese in the background as well. And they are always around Chitwa Dam. They find themselves on the banks here, and they'll kind of move around looking for bits of food that they can find along the shore of the dam itself. Now I wonder where that hippo is off to. Maybe deeper water. It's decided it's had a good sleep and is now going to move deeper to go and cool off a little bit. Hippos really do have the best life when it's this hot weather that we get in the summer months, because they can go into the nice cool water and stay nice and cool, trying just to find some shade. And I think they all agree with me at this stage. I love that sound. It's the best sound. Right, so we're going to sit with these guys a little bit longer. Let's see if we should hopefully get some sort of signs of animals drinking. And so while we do that, let's send you back across to Taylor and her big pachyderm as he searches for food.
Well, we're waiting patiently because we're hoping that they're going to go down to one of the pans, but they're still a little way away, so it might take them some time to get down there, but I think it'll be worth it in the end, because I think we could get splashed with water by the elephants. How does that sound, Darby? Don't you think it would be nice to have a pool party with some elephants? I think so. So this is another elephant that's arrived. I wonder if I put my foot on the clutch if we'll roll. Now Darby and I are doing the shake. Nope. We're going to have to start the car. We tried to bounce the car around a little bit to see if we could get it to roll forward, but we couldn't. There we go. We'll have a look at him. So this is a much younger elephant than our grumpy friend, who is now further and further into the bushes. So they're all slowly starting to meet here now. And he's just gobbling away. He was doing the same thing as the other bull earlier. He was picking up all the thorny trees looking for nice grass. Tracy, you know, I reckon all the animals out here we have to be very, very careful with. Because at any 1 minute, I suppose they could become endangered. Elephants and rhinos have, of course, been fighting the battle against poaching for hundreds and hundreds of years. So 1 minute it's the rhinos that are in under threat, and that's what the case is at the moment. And then the next minute, the rhino population stabilizes, and then it's the elephants that are under threat. And this kind of cycle of them sort of swapping positions has been going on for a very, very long time. And at the moment, the elephants are doing okay. There's actually quite a few elephants in this area. Some people have even said that they're starting to get too many elephants in the Greater Kruger National Park, which can become a problem. So, there's too many animals. Obviously, they all need to eat food, and if there's not enough food to sustain them, you'll kind of see what's happened at Chitwa Dam, for example, but you'll see that on a huge scale, where there'll just be kind of nothing left. So the elephants are doing all right, but we have to watch their populations. I mean, I'm sure there were probably hundreds and hundreds of thousands of elephants, maybe even millions that once roamed the earth. But unfortunately, we are nowhere near those numbers anymore. But the African elephant seems to be doing better than the rhinos are doing at the moment. So we just have to watch them and make sure we protect all the animals. Marshall, I'm so glad that we helped you in making, or having the elephants, as your most favorite animal. They are amazing to watch. I'm overdue for a sighting with a breeding herd and lots of babies, so I'm hoping in the next little while we will be able to see that, because I miss it so much. And the elephants of the Sabi Sand too are just so incredible. Look at that elephant's tail, swishing it around quite a bit, hey? There must be lots of biting flies around that it's having to use that as a fly swatter. Now, leopards and lions and cheetah, they all use their tails to help them balance, especially leopards and especially the cheetah. Elephants don't use their tails to balance, though, because they don't have to worry about trying to climb trees. And they've, of course, got 4 legs, so that normally keeps them on the ground. But that does come in handy as a fly swatter. And we're lucky we can just flap our arms around. And sometimes they even break a bit of a branch, or some of these trees that you can see that have got the green leaves called guarri leaves. And they make for a really, really good fly swatter. But I think that elephant's tail will be a whole lot better. They don't stand. I just wish I could encourage them to go to the watering hole a bit quicker and just go and have a drink, because I'm starting to get thirsty now. So I'm going to take a drink of water. Tristan is still at Chitwa Dam, and it seems as though a few hippos have popped their heads up.
Yes, there are lots of hippos that have popped their heads out. There's heads all over the place at this stage, but I'm not sure why Taylor's jealous of an elephant and its tail, because, well, Taylor has a long ponytail that comes out of her cap, and so if she swings her head from side to side, she can use her hair to slap away flies and keep them away from her face, and then she'll be far more comfortable. So she just needs to nod her head from side to side and it will work. I've seen Taylor do it before, and that ponytail is like a whip. When she's upset with somebody, she'll turn around and the ponytail will kind of flick around, and then you know Taylor's in a bad mood with you, and you've got to be careful. But anyway, our hippos are still kind of taking it easy. They, like I say, are very relaxed. They're not going to do much today. They're going to sit here and wait until such time as it gets much, much cooler and that sun sets. Once that sun is out, then they start to come out and feed. Now, we were talking earlier about that they'll use water to keep themselves cool and away from the sun. They also will have a sort of secretion that comes out of their glands. So they have a type of substance that comes out that's kind of a reddish color. It was known as blood sweat for quite a long time, and that will protect the layer or the skin of the hippo a lot as well, just protect them from sun as well as dehydration if they are also walking around when the sun is out. Maxine, do they sleep in the water? Yes, they do. So quite interesting with hippos. They can sleep and the body will naturally control buoyancy, which is quite interesting. So they'll be able to absorb, able to breathe air, and then they'll kind of go up and down, and the body will automatically do it without the hippo consciously having to wake up and actually sort of try and breathe. So they can sleep quite easily underwater. Most of these hippos are actually having a little sleep at the moment. If you look at their eyes, a lot of the time their eyes are actually closed, That particular one, his eyes is closing and then opening, but for the most part their eyes will be closed and they will actually sleep just like that. A lot of them are also lying in a very shallow area. It looks like deep water, but it's quite shallow, and they're all sitting at the moment. So they'll sit and they'll find a little place where their head can rest, and then they can also just sleep just like that. You'll find sometimes the babies will sleep using the mothers or siblings as a little raft where they'll put their heads on, and they'll kind of use the back of the other one as a way to keep their head above water. So they can sleep very easily in water, and they do. They spend a large majority of their time kind of sleeping around these areas, and so it is an easy thing for them to do, and it makes sense. You know, if they are so susceptible to sun and dehydration, it would make no sense if they have to come out on land to sleep during the course of the day, or to have to stay awake for 12 nothing. It would really be an incredible waste of time. So it's good for them to be able to kind of utilize that time to sleep, and then at night when they're out and the sun's away, that they can actually go and feed and spend a vast majority of their time moving around rather than just sitting and sleeping because it's now kind of cooler. So a much better system for a hippo, a well kind of worked plan. Paula, at what age does a baby hippo become independent? Well, you know, it depends a lot of the time on the sex of the hippo. You know, a little female hippo will stick around within the pod for quite a while and gets a lot more protection from the pod for a longer period of time. But you must remember that hippos have a very short gestation kind of calving period. They will be producing a calf almost every year. And so generally a baby hippo, once it reaches about a year and a half, it's pretty much self-sufficient. It's able to feed on its own, and it will stick close to mom in terms of the grouping, but it's no longer the mom's primary kind of caring. Well, the mom doesn't care for it as a primary individual. It will kind of just be within the group. And so after about a year and a half, like I say 2 years, they're generally starting to move around on their own accord, and the female will then start to have her next little one, which is pretty crazy. So it's a very short turnaround. It's a very different thing to something like a rhino, which is very similar size to a hippo. A rhino has a double the length of gestation period and looks after their calf for a much longer period. They'll look after their one for, 3-4 years before it will kind of have. It's another kind of couple of years until it actually has one. Whereas hippos, like I say, they'll be 8 years, they'll have that baby, they'll start to suckle it, and within a few months after that, it's starting to wean onto grass already and growing up, and they grow quite quickly, do little baby hippos, and so they're pretty self-sufficient after a year and a half and do their own thing. Male hippos will stay within the grouping for a while until they start to look like they're a threat, and then you're going to find that the big males are going to start to see them and kind of push them out a little bit, and those males will then have to go and be nomadic for a while, find their own little pods that they can potentially dominate and look after. So they have a bit of a tougher time than the females. The females generally stick around within the same grouping, and it's only if it really gets crowded for space will sometimes young females be chased out by others and find their own area. Also, mating rights will push them to go and try and find maybe another male at some point, but generally it's the males that distribute more than what the females do. Beautiful scene though, isn't it? All very relaxing at this stage of the day. No one's really too sort of perturbed and too busy to move around. You can see in the far corner there's a few antelope also coming to drink. There's a hippo and one or two what looks like impalas drinking, and some waterbuck down on the far side. Or those nyala. Those are nyala, they are not impalas. Yes, so the nyala is also having a bit of a drink on that side. You can see how low the dam is. It's very, very, very low at the moment, and it's not the lowest I've seen it, but it is still incredibly dry for this time of the year. We should have had a bit of rain by now that should have filled this up, and so I'm really hoping this year all of our dams properly. It's quite incredible to me because in 2012, if you have a look in front of me, there is a kind of slope that goes up to kind of stops up against, and this slope that you see here, that's where the water was going over in 2012. So this whole dam flooded all the way up to the lodge, and so that was where water was flowing. And if you look at now where the water is, it's pretty crazy to think how much water has been lost over the course of the last few years and the really small amount of rain we've had. Quite sad actually. So hopefully it'll be a good year of rain and it will get everything sorted. Now unfortunately, it is round about that time where we're going to have to say goodbye to all of you fairly shortly. It's been a beautiful afternoon and we've seen lots of interesting herbivorous animals. Unfortunately, our cats did not come out to play this afternoon. I was hoping that we were going to find that leopard and he would be sitting by a water point or even other animals around this waterhole, but that's the way it goes. You never know what you're going to get on a safari. Sometimes you'll see lots of amazing things, all action packed into one sort of short period. Other times you've got to drive around for a long period and try and actually find things. And so it's still been a successful afternoon, and hopefully that all of you have absolutely enjoyed spending time with Taylor and myself down here in South Africa and have really kind of enjoyed the afternoon that we've had. I certainly have. And so from Taylor and myself, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you all same time, same place next week for our kids safari.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Sunset Safari. Thank you for participating in the Nat Geo Kids Drive. It was wonderful, wasn't it? Now, just in case you've forgotten who I am, I'm just going to reintroduce myself again. My name is Taylor and on camera with me today is David. There he is. There I am. And here is the wilderness. Talk to us on Twitter, on the YouTube chat. If you're going to use the hashtag SafariLive, or just ask us questions in general. Keep them to what you're seeing on the screen. That's the best way to have your questions answered. So if we're looking at a tortoise and you ask a question about an alligator, it's probably answered. So keep them nice and relevant. And hopefully we'll also be able to find some wildlife today. Although the kids have had a great start. They've had all sorts of epic things. Now, Tristan said to me he couldn't see any wild dog tracks that crossed out this morning, so I'm just going to bumble in the area really. I think we'll drive Mendoza Road and check some places. We might check Triple M and Gari Main just to see if they maybe didn't cross during the day. I just don't know where they would have gone because I thought that they said that they went back west. Anyways, we'll have a little scratch for them and see how. And I don't know what else we could bump into. I don't know where the lions are. Obviously being on foot, I didn't quite get all the radio updates. I don't have a game drive radio while I'm on walk. Kirby does, but he has it kept down. The volume's quite soft as to not to disturb the wildlife as we're prancing about in it. So that's kind of the plan, and we're driving on a very bumpy road now. It's very unpleasant. We're going up and down lots of bumps. David has even resorted to standing. He's using his legs as suspension now. Right, Tristan has not moved away from Chitwa Dam. I wonder what other cool creatures he's going to find there.
Taylor McCurdy, I can this afternoon to be full of nonsense, so I'm sure we'll get up to all kinds of random things. But yes, we are still at Chitwa Dam and we're admiring one of the more beautiful bird of prey species that the world gets, and that is an African fish eagle that has been stuffed like a foie gras duck at this stage. What it has eaten, I'm not quite sure. It has seemingly kind of gathered a whole catfish and shoved it into its crop, and it's made itself as full as possible. Now I'm being blinded by the sun completely, but my name is Tristan. On camera I've got Craig, and it is a warm welcome to this Saturday afternoon safari. And so before I burn my eyeballs out, we're going to go back to... Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I know, it's Saturday afternoon. Yes, I know the Springboks are playing the All Blacks. Settle down, it's all good. So for those who don't know, the All Blacks in the South Africa versus New Zealand in the rugby, which is this afternoon, which we're all very excited about. So we've got Conrad on it. He's busy going to record the game for us, and we'll be able to watch it a little bit later. But our fish eagle seems completely happy with life. I don't see any sign of a carcass at its feet. I was hoping that maybe it was still holding on to some sort of a fish that it maybe had gotten. The fish eagles here do go after rather large catfish sometimes. I've seen them actually swooping down and grabbing catfish that are so big they have to swim to the shore to be able to bring them out and then feed off it. So they do go after big ones, and I wouldn't be surprised that this guy had a really good meal at the moment. It's also interesting, they should be starting to nest at the moment, the pair that lives here. Their nest is behind me, towards Little Gowrie sort of Chitwa cut line. They've got a nest that they've used for many, many years, and so they should be almost prepped and ready to go. They normally, if I remember correctly, started to nest in November. That was normally when we used to start seeing them actually and nesting. Paula, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, if birds have taste buds. I would imagine that given the foulness that something like a vulture eats, probably not, but maybe there's, a tongue that has dulled sensory kind of cells, and so maybe it's just not as sophisticated tastes as what we've got. But it can't be great. I mean, imagine eating a rotten catfish. That can't be a very pleasant taste at all, no matter what you are. So, I mean, I'm sure they do have some sort of sensory cells on that tongue itself, but whether or not they taste and savor taste like what we do, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. I'm sure some of you will be able to help and be able to let us know. Now, there's another bird of prey in the distance that's also circling. It doesn't look like a fish eagle. Craig, can you see it straight in front of us? It's a bit of a tester for Craig. So straight in front on the edge of the dam there. I'm trying to see what it could be myself, but I can't really see because there's a bit of... it looks like a Wahlberg's eagle, doesn't it? Yes, a long rectangular tail. Looks very Wahlberg's-like. Are you a Wahlberg's? Are you going to come closer so I can see you? Looks Wahlberg's like. Maybe some of you can tag me in a screenshot of that, because I can't see nicely and it's very far away. So I would like to kind of get a better look at it, and maybe I can get kind of a sort of... The tail looks Wahlbergy, but the coloration on the face looks a little bit odd. So I just want to try and see if I can get my binos out and have a little bit of a look. By the sounds of things, there's a few birds alarm calling and squirrels, which would be typical of a Wahlberg's eagle in flight. They often cause mass hysteria and mass panic because of the fact that they do hunt other birds and likes, and so you'll often hear a lot of the birds panicking when they are around. Now, of course, I've gotten my completely stuck in the radio microphone cables, which, if you've ever dealt with radio microphone cables, they're an absolute pain in the backside. So now I'm trying to decode how I did that. There we go. This bird is probably long gone by the time I get my binoculars out. So I do apologize, everybody, that I'm inefficient. Louise, did you just tell me that I'm slow? Don't tell me that I'm slow. I'm trying my very best. It's a Saturday afternoon, after all. Now, where is it gone? There it is. I've got it in my sights now. Oh, you said a disaster. Sorry, Louise, the wind is gusting a little bit out here, so I don't hear it very well. And like I say, I'm getting old, so my hearing is going. But yes, I am... It sounds like a disaster. It was a disaster, Louise. Trying to get all of that sorted was not easy. Now that I've got my binos on it, let's have a look. What are you? Turn for me. Yes, I think Wahlberg's eagle. Most definitely Wahlberg's eagle. So that's correct, Wahlberg's eagle. Nice to see you. I'm pretty sure it's the eagle, that nests here at the backside of Chitwa. Right, I'm going to move because I can't see a thing. So, and if I do look into that sun, I'm going to burn my eyeballs out. So I'm going to try and carry on for the afternoon. Oh, hello Hippo. Hippo was just yawning next to us. Seems like there was a few giraffe here today as well, but nothing else. No tracks for any ellies, surprisingly enough. I wonder where all our ellies are and whether they're all going to come back. I'm hoping that they do. I miss big herds of elephants at Chitwa Dam. It's got to be one of the best things about is that you get these monstrously big herds of ellies that move around towards Chitwa Dam, and they come and drink and they play, and it's all very, very nice. I thought I saw something there, but it was just a log that was on top of the dam wall. Also been a long time since there's been a leopard at Chitwa Dam, which is also quite Osana, Tamba and Tingana hung around here. Very, very odd that we haven't seen any sign of leopard in this general vicinity over the last few weeks, given that it's so dry. I would have thought one of our leopards would have been here, but seems not. Ah, my earpiece is pulled out, Craig. Oh, look at you. You're very, very sharp, Craig. Craig is on top form today. Sorry, Louise, in all this kind of moving to try and get my binoculars sorted, I pulled my earpiece out, so I didn't hear anything you said in the last little bit. But I think they're back in now. Ah, there we go. Right, now apparently, because I'm such a disaster, I need to sort myself out, and you're going to go across to Taylor, who's hopefully faring much better than I am with the tech side.
Yes, tricky dicky today. I don't, well, I can't speak today apparently. That might be because of the amount of flu medication I've ingested today. I totally knocked myself out in between game drives. It was fantastic. It was so nice. I feel so well rested, it's not even funny. It's really, really nice actually. Anyway, so last night we popped over just to obviously go have a few chats with my folks and things like that, and all these different types of things. Anyways, and I don't know how the nickname Tricky Dicky came out for Tristan. Bizarre. I don't know if my dad gave it to him. Was it my dad? Why did he come up with that? My dad's ridiculous. Anyways, good old... Oh, sorry, now I'm getting sass from Tristan all the way over at Chitwa Dam. He says I must be more original and not use my dad's lines. Oh, well, I'm his daughter. He's passing them on to me. He's training me for life, Tristan. Duh, that's what dads are for. Anyway, so yeah, so Tricky Dicky. I don't know how he came up with it though, but it was, my dad thought he was quite funny last night, and he had a good chuckle at himself too. And yeah, so we thought that was quite a nice nickname for Tristan, other than Seth the Sloth. What else was he called? He had a whole lot of nicknames he was telling us about the other day, which was quite funny. I've also had too many nicknames. Far too many. Oh, I wanted to show you a hoopoo, but it's not sitting very well, so we won't show you a hoopoo. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I've just checked Mandoza Road, which is basically where we left the wild dogs, and then they had gone west from there. On the fire break here, go all the way to Triple M, and then just check a small Gary Main, and then to Triple M, and then we'll just check a small section just to see if we can see any tracks that have maybe crossed over during the day. We'll start here, and then if we aren't successful... What did I just see on the road? Oh no, it's just stumps. False alarm. Oh my goodness, Paula, I had the most ridiculous nicknames at school. So Tails is a good one. That's like, but from when I was little, and then thankfully in high school there's only like 2 people that called me Tails. Tay Tay is the most annoying one of all my nicknames. T-Bomb, yeah, that one's been around on and off. T-Dog is another one. McCurdy, McCurdle, My Curdle is one of my friends calls me that. I think I've told you, my brother calls me Tarantal, which is a guinea fowl, actually in Afrikaans, so he calls me Tarantal. Tarantal. How do you say it, David? Tarantal. You gotta say Tarantal. We say it like that. Oh my goodness. Stray. The weirdest. Okay. I've got the most bizarre nicknames actually since I've been here at Wild Earth, and there are two of them. Tristan calls me his African pygmy sister. I mean, I literally don't even know why or how, but yes, Tristan gave me that. And then the other one is Stray, but S-T-R-A-Y. So, and then Louise calls me Stray Bay. You know, as well. So Stray, that nickname actually, I got it the day that I arrived. I hadn't even got into camp yet. Rebecca and Jandre came to pick me up from the Hoedspruit or Eastgate Airport. So that's where we were. And then just obviously they were being polite and asking me all the, you know, the questions you ask when you first meet a person. How are you? How was your flight? Where's your family? Where are you from? How many brothers and sisters you have? And then we got on to the fact that I'm have an Australian passport or something like that. And then Rebecca just started calling me Stray for Australia. And then, well, it's just kind of stuck. And so, yeah, I get called lots of different things though. Anyways, whatever. My mom calls me Sean, which is my brother's name, all the time. Because I'm often away from home for long periods of time. And like my brother will be at work and the next minute she'll shout. Because I would have forgotten a tissue in a pocket or something and she's doing laundry or something ridiculous, and she'll go, Sean, I told you not to, and she'll just yell, and then I'm like, well, she's not talking to me, and I'm like, I know Sean's at work, but I know she's actually referring to me. And then she runs through, she used to call me by my brother's girlfriend's name too. She couldn't get Taylor out. It's really funny. It's a bit embarrassing though, but whatever. It makes me sad because it just shows how I'm never home. But anyways, so that's quite funny. My dad's the only one that calls me Taylor Jane. He just calls me by my full name all the time, Taylor Jane, when I'm in trouble, when I'm not in trouble, so I can't really tell the difference. Right. I have not seen any wild dog tracks on here, so I think I'm going to Impala Plains and just keep searching. I'm going to hold on to all the pieces of equipment in this car before they rattle out. Let's go to Tricky Dicky.
Tay, my little African pygmy sister, you are not original in any way. So it's your dad's line he came up with last night that Taylor is now latched onto, and I feel like this is what's going to happen for the rest of the week, is that I'm going to be called this. But anyway, it doesn't faze me. I've heard it many times before. But what we're looking at is a ground scraper thrush. They are beautiful birds. Don't see them all that often. They're quite common here, but tricky to get on camera, often quite flighty, don't seem to sit for long periods of time. But this little one is doing the typical little thrush call that they have, and is every now and then just doing a little wing flip and flap, which is also quite synonymous with thrushes. You just hear it calling in the background there. Very, very pretty call that they've got. Beautiful bird actually. It's kind of drab from the back, but when they turn and you get that sort of moustachial stripe and white and black markings on the chest and face area. It's very, very, very pretty indeed. Nice to see. Yes. Right. Onward we go. I've got to laugh at Taylor. She is quite funny with all of the nicknames that she has. She does have probably more than most. I wonder actually which crew member has got the most nicknames out of the entire group. Probably Taylor. Craig, you've got quite a few. Craig has got Batman, Batters, Slacky, Go Away Craig, which is the Go Away bird. Craig, exactly, Louise. So that's Go Away Craig. What else have you got, Craigie? Eh? That's it. So you've got quite a few. Oh, there's a Battalier Eagle. I think we should do a birding safari. At this stage, I'm going to make Craig's neck sore because we're just doing birding all over the place. But this is a very, very, very cool shot of a Battalier Eagle. Don't normally get them this close. They often quite nice to actually get right up near a juvenile Battalier Eagle. Yes, David also does have quite a few nicknames. He's got quite a lot. We'll have to ask Taylor to go through them so David can be embarrassed. The Dish, as he is affectionately called by Brent, and we'll go through those, and that's all of his nicknames. No, I'm joking, he doesn't hate them, but we call him Davy for the most part though, which is the Afrikaans version of David, so that's what his nickname is mostly. But Look at that. Very cool. I wonder where the adults are. Generally, the adults are not too far away from this particular juvenile. We're close to the Battalier nest that is off Ledwood Road, and so I'm not surprised we're seeing this individual here, and I'm not surprised that it is sitting in a shady spot rather than out in the sunshine. It's probably just trying to stay as cool as possible. But interesting how they just are so drab and so kind of sort of muted in colors when they are so young, and then as they get older, that explosion of color comes through. It fascinates me as to how they go from this kind of brown color to that black and red and yellows on the face and feet, and really is very, very cool to see. So they're an incredible species of bird, and unfortunately one that's really kind of taken the brunt of losing natural habitat. So these guys unfortunately don't do very well outside of game reserves, and it's mostly because they unfortunately get poisoned. They are carrion feeder, much like a vulture, and we know that a lot of people poison carcasses to try to get rid of predators on farms, and these guys are the victims sought after for medicinal uses in witchcraft and the likes, and they believe that their feet, if you have their feet in position with you, you can help you predict the future. And so it's used a lot in sports betting, which is quite interesting. Particularly around the 2010 World Cup, there was a massive spike in the poisonings of Battalier eagles as people tried to get them to bet on the World Cup football, that they could then try and win more money. So a bit of a shame that happens, but it is one of those kind of birds that does get persecuted quite heavily by poisoning, particularly around farming areas. And so the populations of Battaliers within Southern Africa is pretty much restricted to natural wilderness areas or game reserves that are protected. Luckily for you, you're right. You don't have to worry too much. Yes, indeed. Good. Let's leave our Battalier alone. Let's let it carry on with its afternoon of taking it easy. Beautiful bird though, nonetheless, and very nice view of one. Like I say, we're going to resort to birding at this stage because the animals are not playing the game. There's literally not a track to follow at this stage. None of us can find tracks. It's not just us. There is also, Tax and Aubrey and a few other vehicles, and no one has got an update on any track whatsoever. So hopefully we'll find something soon. Right, while we kind of figure out where we're going to head from here, let's send you back to the Tay and see what she's up to.
Tay. Do you know that when I'm with a certain group of friends, they have a sentence for me, and I think I've told you this before. It is so ridiculous. They go, Tay, banana, gone cray cray. I mean, like, have you ever? I cringe. I could die. Like, a piece of my soul dies when someone says that to me. It is so horrible. But anyways, I think they do it on purpose though, to annoy me, because if they're not your friends if they don't annoy you, are they? So we did like a little loop, a couple of loops around. No sign of those wild dogs. So I suppose there's a possibility that they still could be on the property. So we're just sort of lingering in the west now. It's cooling down quite nicely. It's not quite as chilly as yesterday afternoon. I mean, by this time, Sebastian and I already had our jerseys on. So I just thought we'd just come and make sure that we check all their favorite spots. I know they do like it around here. They like Impala Plains. They also like sandy patches, often groups of Impala, warthogs, Steenbok duiker. There's quite a bit of game around here. Not now, otherwise I'd be showing it to you. But I thought, might as well give it a bash. And so, yeah, we've been lucky the last couple of weeks. The sands have been pumping. It's been incredible. So the animals take a day or two off every now and then. It means we suffer, of course, but it's just one of those things, eh? It's wildlife. But here, those chirpy gymnogene. I was going to show you starlings, but I'm not showing you them anymore. Do you want me to turn around? I think we need to chase it, because it's like the only thing we've got. Where'd you go? Oh, there, it's on that dead tree. Perfect. No, starlings, don't go and chase it away. They are too. They're so rude. I was going to show you those starlings. Now they're mobbing the gymnogene. Get away. We want to see it first. Sorry. They're making such a noise. So, there we go. There's the African harrier hawk or gymnogene. Churchill starling swooping on down, trying to mob this bird. I'm glad we reversed. It was kind of worth it. How crazy is that? That all the sightings came together. Got distracted. ADD kicked in hard because I saw the starlings, then spotted the gymnogene, but now they're all around. But a perfect tree for a gymnogene to have a look around and to find a meal. Do you know what could happen is maybe these starlings are nesting in this tree. They normally nest in cavities, so natural sort of cavities. It got something. Oh, maybe it has got something. Oh no, it is a little chick. Do you see that? How crazy. I think I saw a foot. Let's just see if it picks it up again. So maybe that's why those starlings swooped on over so quickly, is because they did have a nest in here. But there's very little they can do if it is one of their little chicks. That unfortunately will be the end of it now. Shame, that's so sad. But also very important for that bird. It's not every day that they get to have, you know, a good opportunity, a good find like that. Even though it's tough for the herbivores at the moment, it is also tough for the raptors. So I just have to be, although I say that, but with what we've seen the last few days, you saw that African hawk eagle yesterday with a squirrel kill, and now we've got the gymnogene with the little chick. Oh well, that makes so much sense though as to why those. Sorry, I'm moving around. I have a fly biting me. That makes sense as why those starlings were so unhappy and why they flew such a far distance. At least they tried. They risked their lives, of course, by swooping on down and getting close to that raptor. They could, in return, also lose their life. I think they've just accepted now that might be it might not be one of their chicks. It could just be something else. I just feel like there was the way that they flew over like that suggested that that possibly they had a nest nearby. I don't know how a African harrier hawk would stand up against a blacksmith lapwing. I don't think that they would stop. I think if they caught one of their chicks, I think that they would be very, very upset. Some of the most aggressive birds, them and the fork-tailed drongos, in my opinion, don't take any nonsense from anyone. Yes, I know you're all sad now, but this is, of course, the circle of life. This is just one of those things. You can see that bird is struggling, though. There's obviously not much flesh on it, which clearly suggests, and it's not plucking any feathers off of it, that it's an exceptionally young bird. Maybe only a few days old, in fact. Oh, there we go. Found a little chunk of flesh. And nice to watch. So, if you are needing a refill on an apple juice or perhaps a cup of tea, you might want to do that now. More likely it's not too close, it's not too graphic, but it is just sad that it is eating a little baby bird. But that's a great meal though. Ooh, those starlings still swooping on in, just showing how absolutely outraged they are at the moment. What an epic sighting. We're lucky with the birds. This might have to end up being a birding safari. Sorry, everybody. Oh, that camera's not behaving very well. Davy and I have been practicing our Australian accent. It's being a drongo. Please, can you say that again, Louise? Sorry, I had my radio turned on. I just turned down so much there. Oh, wonderful. Yes, this is not a batelier, but Tristan is also doing the birding safaris. Let's go look at his one.
Indeed, we said that the adults wouldn't be too far away, and, well, there we go. There is an adult batelier sitting in a tree very close to where that juvenile was a little bit ago. So we've kind of got them. There's actually two here. There's not just three. Sorry, funny enough, batelier that are in this particular tree. There was one has actually flown away now, but they're straight ahead, hidden behind all of those branches. So looks like the two adults here, and then it looks like an older chick potentially, and then the third one, which was the juvenile that we saw earlier. But like I was saying, pretty incredible that... There it goes. Oh no, it just broke the whole branch. It almost fell down to the ground. Lucky batelier. That was not graceful at all, batelier. Good try though. There it goes. The last one is still remaining. Let's see if this last one decides to take off and fly away as well. Are you going to be left solo here? So there was all tree, and then 2 have left it, and so I wonder if this one is now going to take off as well. If we see it defecate and stoop forward, it might just do so. Taylor's asking when a Battalier pooped on me. I don't remember a Battalier pooping on me. Taylor, any information that will jog my memory as to when a Battalier pooped on me? I don't remember that story. I remember we once had a Battalier at Singita that was poisoned, and we managed to save it and drove everybody absolutely crazy because it did not shut up for the entire time it was with us, because we had to keep it overnight to take it. Okay, I thought that might be the case. So Louise unfortunately misheard Taylor, but Taylor's basically bringing up yesterday's conversation about birds pooing on me and whether I would want a Battalier to lift its tail and eject its projectile poo towards me. The answer to that, Taylor, is simply no, I wouldn't. And the reason for it is much like a vulture. It is a carrion feeder, so I would imagine what comes out the other end is not very pleasant at all. And secondly, it's a lot of volume. If you want to be pooed on by a bird for luck, no one wants to be pooed on by a big bird. That's just... So, you want to just keep it kind of easy, and you want it small. In fact, the smaller the better. Maybe we should get a little... grey penduline tit to kind of poo on me, because that would just be like a little gecko poo. No, more poo does not equal more luck, Louise. That is a fallacy. Whoever told you that is lying to you. They were trying to trick you into being pooed on by a big bird. One must not fall into false promises when it comes to being pooed on. You need to make sure that you find the right kind of bird, and I find that generally rarer birds bring more luck. So rare bird, something like an arena trogon would be a very good one. Colourful, not too big, and rare, that would be the most lucky if that pooed on you. You don't want to get the sort of stock standard average birds. They wouldn't really do much in terms of bringing you good luck, and a Battalier is just too big, and it just would be messy, and then you'd feel like you're having a bad day, and then your mindset is wrong. So no, you don't want that at all. Of course, this is just an absolutely ridiculous conversation, but like I say, it flows on from yesterday. We had this such a bad afternoon, and it's continued to be bad. I haven't found animals at all. I've been slacking in my game. So, Craig, is your slacking kind of nature rubbing off on me? Take your slackiness back, Craig. I don't want it. So I've been struggling to find animals the last sort of 3 drives. I don't know why. I suppose it's just one of those things. I'm sure it will change in the next couple of days. But that's why this came up, is that somebody asked, is it good luck for a bird to poo on you? And then we answered the question, and I said maybe a bird should poo on me in order to bring me luck. So that's to catch you all up as to why we're even having this conversation at the moment. And I know it's completely ridiculous, but, well, this is what we delve into when things are a little quiet. I will generally go completely off topic and talk about absolutely random nonsense. And so hopefully you guys don't mind dealing with our nonsense as we do. Hopefully you're somewhat entertained by us as we go along. Chat Noir, which bird has the longest wingspan? I'll show you. Give me 2 seconds. I just need to clean my cell phone screen. I put sun cream on before we came out today because it's bright and sunny and I don't want skin cancer. So I put on some sun cream, and that means that my actual screen itself is a bit dirty. So what I'm going to try and find this bird for you. Give me 2 seconds. Right. So this is what has the longest wingspan. There we go. It is a wandering albatross. There we go. 3.6 meters, I think it is the wingspan. I'll check it for you now, but look at the size of those wings in comparison to the bird. So we'll have a little look here. What does it say? 2.8 to 3.6 meters. There we go. So that's the wingspan of this bird. Monstrous wingspan for a bird. Really, really is very, very big. So that is the bird with the longest wingspan that we get in southern Africa. In terms of here in the Kruger Park area, I'm not sure. It would be, I think, a toss-up between lappet-faced vulture, Cory bustard, and potentially maybe a marabou stork. I'll check it now. Let me just double check for you, but I think it would be one of those three: leopard face, marabou stork, or Cory bustard. One of the three of them will have a massive wingspan, so I'll just have to check it. The Cory bustard, I think, is more just broad than it is long, so my guess would be leopard face vulture, but I'll double check it now and just have a little look and see what I can actually find. But we're going to leave our Bateleurs alone, and you've worried them. Now, it sounds like a tailor has been forgetful once again and had to do a mad dash past camp. I wonder what she's forgotten. She probably won't tell us, but she's forgotten something, so we'll have to press her to tell us what it is that she has forgotten this afternoon. It's the third time this week that Taylor's had to go back to camp due to forgetting various things. It's the one nice thing about being at Djuma is that camp is not far away. In the Mara, you forget something and, well, you are done and dusted. You have to just kind of deal with it and cope for the day. It's not the same as here where you can just, well, I'll just swing past camp on my way around. And also camp generally is right in the center of where things happen because of the pump pans in this dry season. There's quite those water points during that time, and so you can sometimes get some really interesting things coming through. No tracks here for Tandi and Kalamba. I wonder where they are. I wonder if she didn't find some other meal in that block and has managed to kind of take that. It's possible. Definitely nothing here though. Gabby, no, it's not the lack of water that's the reason for no big cats around. You know, Gabby, we expect, and you know, we get used to seeing big cats all the time, and then when we don't see them for a while, we start to wonder what's going on, and we start to think, well, where are they going? And it's only been one day that we haven't seen a big cat, and so, or should I say, oh, there's a little bird of prey. That's nice. What are you? A yellow seer and yellow legs, a little sparrowhawk by the looks of things, or is it a shikra? Does it have a cherry red eye, Craig? I can't see nicely. It looks like a cherry red eye, so it might be a little shikra that we've got there. Come on, turn your head again for me. Yes, indeed. A little shikra is what we've got on the branch. Beautiful little birds of prey. You can see they've got that bright red eye that they have with that kind of yellow legs, and they really are a pretty bird. We see them quite a bit. There's a pair that nests on a vulture's nest, which is quite odd given that they're not a vulture, but they nest in that area, and so this might be another one that I have seen one here before, so I wonder if there isn't a nest somewhere in this general vicinity that we can potentially try and find. But very cool to see. At first I thought it was something a bit more innocuous. John, the most colourful bird I've seen. Sure, there are lots of colourful birds out there. Just trying to think what would be the most colourful one of them all. I mean, let's think about this. Sorry, John. I know I'm umming and ahhing, but there's so many out here. It's very tricky to kind of put it down to one bird that is particularly colourful. I mean, lilac-breasted rollers have got so many colours on them, probably more than most other birds. So they really are incredibly beautiful. I'm just trying to think what other birds would be kind of lumped in with them. Some of the bee-eaters are incredibly colourful as well. What else? Bush shrikes, they've all got incredible colours. I'm just trying to think of some of the birds that I saw in There's some really nice birds there that were colourful. There was actually a very cool bee-eater there called a black bee-eater. I'll try to find a picture for you quickly. They are beautiful birds. They're a little bit dark in coloration, so they're not quite as bright as maybe some of the other birds that we see, but they just have some really kind of great contrasting colours around them, which is really nice. So I thoroughly enjoyed seeing them. In fact, they were one of my favorite birds that we saw there. And I'm just a picture of them. So let's see. Maybe let me save it, Craig, so we can get a much bigger picture of it. Give me 2 seconds, Craig. Sorry, I'm keeping Craig very busy today. Now, where did it go? Oh no, I didn't save the picture. Oh no. how do I save this? Hold on. Save image. There we go. So I'm failing miserably at this stage. So there we go. This is a black bee eater. Now Taylor's apparently messaging me on WhatsApp as well for some reason. No, I don't know why Taylor's sending me a message, but that's a black bee eater. So black in coloration with bright blue and red. Now she's doing it on purpose because she probably knows that I'm on my phone, and that's why she keeps sending messages. She's being a hooligan. But isn't that a pretty bird? I think they're beautiful. Taylor McCurdy, you are going to get yourself into a lot of trouble. Why are you ignoring me? I'm not ignoring you, Taylor. I'm busy trying to do my job. This is another story. It's okay. It's you know, the thing with Taylor is she starts this, and then when I retaliate, then she says no, that I'm embarrassing her. That's okay, Taylor. Have your fun for now. She's obviously gotten whatever she needs back from camp and is busy being full of nonsense, and so while we kind of think about how we're going to get Taylor back for just messaging me non-stop while I'm trying to show you beautiful birds, let's send you back to her and see what she forgot at camp.
I only did that to you on purpose. Tristan, I just had to go back and get a jacket very quickly because I forgot to bring one on safari this afternoon. Very silly of me. Sorry, Darby, for the inconvenience. Oh, Darby's so sweet. He accepts my formal apology. Very nice. That just was too. When I obviously heard about what happened now, I had a good chuckle. So I thought, let's see if he's learned his lesson yet. I could have been so inappropriate, but I wasn't. I behaved this time. Goodness, I don't know why I had shark emojis on my phone though. I can't remember when I last spoke about fishing or why. I don't know if I was telling somebody how scared I was, maybe, and using a shark emoji to describe it. Oh well. So where are we going now? Probably stay on Juma, but look. Oh right, maybe Treehouse Dam. Okay, we'll go past Treehouse Dam very quickly, beat Tristan to it, and then I think, you know what, I think we might drive like Rebecca's Road, Zoe's, Balanites. I'm still just not convinced. Maybe there's something in the west. So we'll try that, and then we'll do a few more loops, and then I think we'll go back towards Gallagher Pan and see if the elephantums are down there, the ones that we saw earlier. They looked like they were going to go for a drink there, but they were so far away still, and they really weren't rushing anywhere. Michael, yes, we can quickly check the hyena den now. I was there yesterday and I didn't see any new evidence, didn't see any wet patches, I didn't even see any tracks coming out. I don't know, did Tristan check it this morning? Oh, hang on, there's a daker. We'll look at that first. There it is. On a termite mound. I think it knows. Maybe it doesn't know it's been spotted just yet. Perhaps it thinks it's invisible. I think it thinks that it's invisible at the moment because it hasn't run away. Hello, boy. Not much greenery around there. Maybe it looks like there might be a num-num or something. I might be getting, no, I think I've just made that up. So I take that back. I don't know what that is that's growing at its feet. It looks like it doesn't want to stand on it though. Back down the termite mound. I just find it amazing how they're so relaxed in winter when there's nothing around, nothing for them to hide themselves away. Just very, very quietly moving around. And of course, I was making sure that there's nothing else around. It's walking towards a hyena den. Let's go towards it. Let's go and see what there is. So we still need to get Tristan with the sand. Oh, Scott, you said if we can just get you one more bird, it'll have 10 for your bird list. Okay, I mean, that's fairly easy. Hopefully it'll be one you haven't seen yet. Can anybody come up with ideas on how we can prank Tristan with more sand? I want to try and get him on Game Drive, but I haven't really worked a way around it just yet, so I might need some help from all of you. If anybody's a good prankster and you were watching yesterday, you'll know that I put sand all over Tristan's car after he just cleaned it. He then repaid the favor and walked past sand bomb over here on the dashboard. Now he's in the lead and I need to get him back. Well, we're even now, but I'm obviously going to continue playing this game. I'm thinking of going and putting sand in his shoes during the middle of the day. I might have to get Ali to help me with that one. I'm sure she will help me. I feel like that won't be a hard ask. I think she'll jump at that opportunity. Okay, so there's no hyena tracks coming in. None. Let's just go a little bit further around, which normally we do see tracks coming in and out. I mean, we can have a look. There doesn't look like there's anything there now. The big hole is the entrance, in case you've never seen this hyena den before. And it has been active, but there's no adults sitting around it. And I don't see any fresh evidence that anything has kind of been there. Wondering. Anyways, we'll keep doing some figuring out. We'll probably check the den on Aubrey's just to make sure. Let's go to Tristan with a woodpecker.
Well, Scott, happy 10th bird on your bird list. Female woodpecker, or female bearded woodpecker, should I say, that is pecking about on the base of a tree and is trying to get itself some little insects that potentially are inside there. So that would be your 10th bird, and welcome to the birding fraternity, and I hope that your list will be long and filled with many epic birds. You started your list at a good time, because now is the time where the migratory birds are going to start coming back, and so you should populate your list pretty quickly. And for any of you that haven't started a bird list, it's always a nice idea. It's always fun to have you guys join us and try and get to milestones. I actually would like to know from all of you, this is to ask all of you to please send through what your bird list number is. I want to know who's leading the race in the bird list, who's seen the most birds on Safari Live as a viewer. So hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or at FC with your bird list number. Louise and whoever's on D2, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to you. You're going to have to compile a list and to see who is the highest. Maybe we'll get the top 3 and see who. Alicia is going to do it. Well, luckily Alicia is probably one of the most efficient of all of us, so she'll be able to do this quite quickly. But top 3 birders that we have and how many birds you've got. I would imagine anywhere around 230 should be a good number for most of you. That would be a very, very good bird list. A lot of you, I would imagine, would be in the 100 to 200 range. Very few of you probably have gone over double 200 mark. So we'll see how that goes, but let's have a look. There's been a lot of really epic birds that have been seen by Safari Live over the years, and so I'm really intrigued to see what kind of the highest bird list is and what you guys have got. And if there's any birds that is so included with your list, is the bogey bird that you are still looking for. I know, James, yours is a class as cuckoo. I know there's a couple others have got some quite common ones that we haven't quite gotten on screen yet, but we'll get them. Don't you worry. It's that time of the year where birding's going to happen, and Brent Leo Smith is coming back to Juma, so birding will be happening. Rachel, it depends on the bird. So a lot of the migratory birds have different times of year that they migrate. So things like the Wahlberg's eagle, well, they migrate quite early. So we see them arriving here very, very early on, probably around, I mean, we saw, when was the first one? End of August. So they arrive very early, whereas if you look at something like carmine bee-eaters, which generally are one of the last ones, the carmines and the European rollers, they normally arrive here around sort of December time. Beginning of December to mid-December is when they come into this area. Now, Scott, I've got another bird to add to your list for you quickly. That's silhouetted against this very bright sunshine at the moment. Hopefully it's not going to fly off. It's also not a very good angle, so I'm going to try and get round so it's not silhouetted. Oh, so Scott, you say your bird list is 168 already, but this is your 10th bird for today. Woohoo! Right, let's make it 11 birds for today, Scott. But oh, just 68. Okay, I was going to say, Scott, if you're on 168, that's not a bad list at all. So for those of you who have lists, if you're in the hundreds, you're doing well. If you're over 200, you're doing exceptionally well. But here we go, Scott. This is our 11th bird for the day. This is a African hawk eagle. Don't fly, don't you fly, and kill many birds in their life. So everything sort of alarm calls when they fly. But I wonder where the adults are today. The adults aren't here. They normally are around this area, but I don't see them this afternoon. Right. I want to know where Taylor is, because I want to try and find Taylor today. I'm tell her what the plan is, but I'm hoping that Taylor gets tracks, and then she's going to get off her vehicle. When she gets off her vehicle, Louise, you have to radio me and tell me that she's off her vehicle and what her location is. Then we're going to quickly race there, and then I'm going to fill Taylor's car up with sand, but you can't tell her that this is the plan, so we're going to fill up everywhere, on her steering wheel, on her seat, on her footwell, so that she's literally going to have to wade through sand to drive her vehicle. So that's going to be our plan. But yes, our little secret, and that applies for the next few days, because we're still in the sand war, and she's currently on Philemon's cut line. Okay, we're far from where she is, but she's got no tracks at the moment, so we have to wait until she's off the vehicle. And then what we're going to do is, just to try and see if Taylor can figure it out, is we're going to take her keys out of her ignition when we put all the sand in, and we're going to just bury them in the sand close by. And we're going to see how long it takes Taylor to find the keys to be able to drive her car. So that's the plan, but you can't tell her, otherwise it's going to ruin the game, because otherwise we're going to have a problem with our sand war, and I'm pretty sure it's going to escalate from there, but we'll try. Right, on my leg, I'm going to show you my leg, unfortunately, over here, Craig. I think I have mating insects on my leg by the looks of things, which is not ideal. No one really likes to be mated on. Is it 2 insects or is it just 1? Are you 2 or 1? No, you are 2. Look at that, I have mating insects on my leg. That's not fair, you two. You cannot treat me like a bed. Off you go. Go. They look like little leaf hoppers is what they look like. Hey. Away, you two, off. They don't want to get off. They're quite happy. I suppose they're involved in an act of indecency, and, well, they don't want to just break it up for anything. They're not leaf hoppers by the looks of things. They're actually a fly of some sort, which is quite interesting. Guys before. That's ridiculous. Taylor is now singing a song, so apparently she wants to sing a song for all of you, so we'll send you across to her just now to sing the song. Alright, you two that are mating, that is not acceptable. I'm going to hold them up though so that you can see them a little bit better. Craig, how close is too close? Is that okay, Craig? This is a bit awkward, I must be honest. I feel a bit bad that I'm holding. I don't feel like this is a very good thing to be doing. You two, just keep it above board until such time as we walk off. A very beautiful little fly. Green kind of body, and then a little bit of yellow and a stripe. It is below the belt. It was below the belt on my leg, actually. It was not ideal at all, you naughty flies. Right. For that, we're going to send you off, little flies. You're going to go somewhere else where you can have some privacy, because I don't want to be mated on. Very rude. It's not what you do. That's a bit of advice for all of you, is don't mate on other people. That is quite rude. Right, now apparently Taylor was singing a song, so she wants to sing for all of you. So let's send you across so she can sing what she was singing.
All I can say, Tristan, is that even the flies find you irresistible. And also, there's no ways I'm singing what I just sang live. You can all forget it. It's a quick way. Don't you think, Darby? I feel like that's almost crossing the line, so I'm just gonna, you'll just have to use your imagination as I'm singing. Let's see who can guess what song I changed up to fit the fact that Tristan had mating flies on him. I just imagined before they were probably sitting on a pile of poop. Soz. Oh, Tristan. I can't wait to see the screenshots of that a little bit later. That's going to be amazing. Okay, so we're driving on Zoe's Road now. Supposing we have a quick scan, because I should be able to pick out any herds of buffalo. Actually, we can all have a look together. I'll stop. Look how open it is. What are those down there? Where's my binoculars? Monique from London. Yes, this drive indeed has gone particularly weird, hasn't it? We pride ourselves on that, though. How we drive to absolute nonsense in about 0.2 seconds. There ain't no race car. It's got, they can go faster than us from hero to zero. Now I'm scanning with my binoculars. Obviously Darby's doing a pan scan. That's a technical term. It's not really. Manu made it up in the Mara. Pan scans. And you can see how you can spot things from a mile away. I didn't spot anything though. Just the impala. But they're not particularly far away. I was hoping we were going to do one of those impressive spots away. And basically it's just like a pin drop. What is on the road? Can you see that? Over here, on this road. I don't know what that black thing is. We're going to go and investigate. What is that? Piece of log. Looks like a char-grilled log. Let's go have a closer look. My elephants must have been feeding here and moved that out of the way. I can only think that's why it would be on the road. Doesn't look like it's been graded. That's exactly what's happened. Yeah. Let me jump out. Okay, so it seems as though it's not an elephant, but a rhinoceros that was here. That obviously is scent marked in this area, just down on the floor over here. And this piece of log that was in one of the fires from a little while ago got scraped. It's not particularly heavy. So that went flying. When the rhinoceros was scraping his feet, we can just flick. Oh. Got dirt on my shoe now. Luckily I'm going home soon, so Bossy Donna can help me clean my shoe. No, I'm just joking. If she heard me say that, whoa, I'd be in trouble. Sorry, Mom. Just jokes. Luckily I'm so far away. No, I think they won't be watching today, I don't think. Right, off we go. I'll have to clean my shoes tonight. You'll have to check my shoes in the morning to see if I clean them or not. Probably going to forget to clean them, let's be honest. That's what's most likely going to happen. Is that a waterbuck or a kudu? Oh, it's a waterbuck. Sorry, the beautiful golden light, just where we saw the impala, has now illuminated. And we've got an African golden waterbuck. Golden waterbuck, it's just a common waterbuck that we are looking at. But it is absolutely gorgeous. It really caught my attention. And from this sort of, the coloration on its face kind of reminds me of a roan antelope. It almost looked like, but it obviously isn't. I don't know why. I just all of a sudden went, oh, that kind of reminds me of a roan. Beautiful, but very camouflaged. We drive to Galago Pan now. How does that sound? Oh, good. We're going to go there and investigate and see if those elephant bulls that we had earlier during the Nat Geo Kids show, if they're still around. It might have already come and gone. It does look... Oh, why did I go here? Okay, we'll just carry on. I took the wrong road, but it's fine. Luckily, there's many that go back that way, so we're okay. We're going to go past the infamous Balanites tree that Brent once... Tree 1, Brent 0. He almost actually really hurt himself, so we're lucky that he didn't. I think he's got long legs and he reaches the floor a lot quicker than the rest of us. Okay, so we'll go all the way down here, then we'll cross Vuyatila access, and then eventually we'll get to the pan. Ravinda, my parents love going on safari. They're the kind of people that don't even need to see anything. They're just happy to be out of the city and in the... And as long as they can stop for a sundowner stop, they're fine. Then they're happy. And then, yeah, so yes, they did. They had a great time. They saw so many things, though. They saw lots of rhinos this morning. They saw some elephants. They've had big herds of buffalo drinking down dams. That was at Buffelshoek. They saw all sorts of lions. They saw wild dogs yesterday. That was really cool, very special. And to see puppies, you know, it's something I don't think my parents have seen for a while. And then they're going on another safari this weekend. Not October. They're going to Kruger, I think. My dad loves to do a self-driving Kruger. I was telling you, he's Mr. Kruger Park. He does the most spectacular safaris there. Right, very quickly, let's pop on back across to Tristan.
yes, a rodent. A very pretty rodent that has got a glint in its eye as the sun sets over another African wilderness day. So it looks like it doesn't look like a fully grown adult at all. And it was two of them actually there. So I wonder if these are two little ones that were born in the same group together, or the same litter, if you want to, for lack of a better word. And I wonder where the other one's gone. It was just behind the branch then kind of popped its head up, saw us, and then ran away, which was not very nice at all. And then I don't know where it's gone from there. But this little one is being very obliging, just sitting beautifully in the golden afternoon sunlight. Isn't that a pretty picture of a squirrel? I know they're common, I know we see them a lot, and they send us on wild goose chases all the time, but they really are cool, especially when they sit like this quite close to us and let us get in very, very close proximity in the setting sun. Very, very pretty. There's the other one. Oh, the other one's just come out. So the other one's just to the top left of that one, Craig. There he is. You can see it's a boy quite clearly at this stage. There's really no way you can mistake that for anything else other than a boy itself. We were discussing this actually yesterday, to be honest. So there she comes. Now, are you guys fully grown? The male looks a little bit bigger than the little one that we saw. So maybe it's just a family of together. But anyway, the little female's kind of popped off. If it is a female, I can't see nicely what she was, but that's definitely a boy. And you can see they look like they're just grooming themselves. It's tricky to actually see around the branch, but it looked like he was just grooming her. I wonder if she's going to pop out behind him there and come around and sit on the branch with him. He's got a perfect little spot just to watch over as well. Very, very cute. There, so both of them are there. There's the other little eye behind the other one. So they're tucked up together. By start, they're going to run away. So Rosalind, the squirrels, well, what they do is, this is now their sundowner time. They come out onto the tree and they sip a glass of wine and whisper sweet nothings into their ears, into each other's ears, watch the sun go down and kind of sit on their porch. And then from there, they will find a little hole in this tree where they'll disappear into. So at night, they spend their nights inside the holes in the tree, and that's where they'll curl up and stay warm and sheltered and also out of the way of potential predators. Because remember, at night, there's going to be things like leopard that are all on the prowl, and so if you're a little squirrel, owls as well, you don't want to be out and about. So they go into holes in the tree, and that's where they pretty much spend their night. There are some that will use termite mounds from time to time as well. You'll find that they'll kind of go in and rest in those mounds, but for the most part, they'll use trees more than anything else, hence the name tree squirrel. Yes, the roof of the DRC and Ingers is also a favorite haunt for squirrels. I think that's the student. I don't think that's always the romantic getaway. The DRC and Ingers is where all the students go to have a party. That's their spring. Yes, it's spring break for the squirrels at the DRC. There's music that plays every now and then. They can run up and down the roof. They can go absolutely crazy. Can raid the bins every now and then. It's the young adults of the squirrel world that inhabit the metropolitan, that is the DRC. When you start to get a little bit older and start to settle down, then glorious knobthorn like this that you can then potentially sit in and rest in. Yes, you move to the country estate, one that's got a view and a big palace. Right, squirrels, we're going to leave you two be. I feel bad that I'm interrupting your romantic evening, so you two do your thing, enjoy your evening, and we're going to carry on and see what else we can find. Now, if you see a leopard, please let us know. Please shout. Okay, deal? Yes, deal. All right, good. Thank you. The squirrel gave us a little. He said, if I see a leopard, I will shout at you, no end, and you can come and see what's around. I'm hoping that Thandi and Columba are somewhere here. This is a favorite area of theirs, so that's why we're here. So, Louise, correct me if I'm right. Mr. Anderson asking if there's any legumes and what kind of trees, sorry? Trees with nuts. Yeah, marulas. So marulas have nuts that are edible. Their fruit will come now, shortly. And then once the fruit is kind of, if you peel back the fruit off of it, it's very tricky and you have to dry it, but eventually a nut will be exposed and then you can dig it out with a knife and you get this little kind of nut on the inside that you can eat. Very, 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 very tasty. That's probably one of the best nuts that we have out here. I'm just trying to think what else there is that would be considered a kind of delicacy and much like a nut. Star chestnut, they also produce a nut, but we don't see many of them here. That's about it. The rest of them are more pods than anything else, seed pods. There's not too many nut trees that we get out in this area, if I'm honest. Now, I'm hoping that Buffelshoek Dam is going to give us something. Come on, Buffelshoek Dam. There's still that carcass dangling in the tree, which by now is completely just biltong. It's not really going to be predated by anything. Things like ants and insects are going to have to... But you never know, maybe something pops out at the dam, and so while we do that, let's send you across to Taylor, who's got the same idea in that she's checking water points in the late afternoon.
We are finally making our way towards the pan, and that is Gallagher Pan. It's just here around the corner. So we're almost there, and we will see what is behind the curtain. If the elephants are there, if there's a leopard drinking, there's an Egyptian goose or a Senegal lapwing. Stay tuned to find out. That's probably watch where I'm driving. Hey, Darby. Made me panic for a minute there that I was looking at the camera, staring into camera too long, and then Darby's eyes went wide like this, and I realized there was a bend in the road. That's how I knew I had to turn back. Oh, there is a spur fowl. Hi, Swainsons. That is all that we have, unfortunately, at the pan. Oh no, I've lied to you. We'll show you the next bird. It is over there. Oh, there we go. Eating poop. Another... Oh, and a turtle dove. Never mind, we've got all the animals here. Of course, the turtle dove has come down for a bit of a drinky. And then, of course, yes, the hornbill is just digging around in elephant dung, as they seem to be doing, which they seem to be very fond of doing things like that. That dove's being very careful. It's trying to figure out where it's going to go and drink. Maybe it's looking for the steps to enter the pool. Has anyone ever done that? We walked around an entire swimming pool and you couldn't find the steps and you're too embarrassed to go around a second time and then you just end up diving in. Oh, there we go, yes. That's a much easier place for you to drink at, bird. No, I've never done it before, but I just jump in. I don't use the steps. Are you crazy? Do I look like the kind of person that uses steps? Are you mad? If there's a rail, I'll slide down it, obviously. And if it's a swimming pool, I'm going to do a big dive and splash as many people that are sitting on the sides as I can, because that's what I'm like. And then I get into trouble. Then my dad shouts at me and tells me that the water needs to stay in the pool. He reminds me. But there we go. A lovely gathering of all sorts of wonderful birds. Laura, occasionally we see ducks. The most common duck that we see is a white-faced whistling duck. I don't know what sound it makes, but it makes a whistling sound. Then sometimes we see like teals, which look like ducks. Ducks do we see? White-faced whistling ducks, hey? I'm trying to think. Well, yes, but also not really, Louise. There's the fight between the African pygmy goose and an Egyptian goose. Oh, what's that? Bunting? No, don't go. Stay. We're fun. We're nice. It's hidden just on that bottom branch. No, where'd it go? Oh, there. Off. It's okay. It was a little golden-breasted bunting. They're very pretty birds. We'll see. This is a very good area to find them, so I'll keep my eyes peeled and hopefully we'll see some more around here. We could also see, I'd like to see some white-crested helmet shrikes. This is another fantastic area. Maybe some retses or even an owl. We had a cool sighting of a Varro's eagle owl here being mobbed by all sorts of birds. Remember, we're on bushwalk. I'm just in here. And keep looking. 3 red rovers. I'm assuming because we were talking about birds, you said parrots and not carrots. Because I heard, are there any carrots in South Africa? And I thought, yes! Woolworths does they do baby carrots. They're really tasty. I need to be sponsored by Woolworths because I talk about it enough. Anyways, that and Red Bull, please. I'm just joking. So anyways, so we have got parrots, and the common parrot that we see, which you could see this afternoon, is a brown-headed parrot. What is up there? I see something up in a tree. Hang on. I don't think anything. It's just a branch. Never mind. I thought that was an owl. There's a really... You saw what I saw her. So there's a couple of big knots in this massive jackalberry, which is a stunning tree, and the kind of tree that an owl would like to hide away in, but unfortunately it wasn't. It was just a twist of the branch that created an illusion. Anyways, not a good tree to check though. We've got the right idea. So yeah, you get a variety of different species of parrot. You get Mayer's parrots, which you can see a little bit further north than here, and then along the coast, and then Cape parrot, but they're very, very rare to see. I've only seen Cape parrots twice in my life, and I was actually in Hogsback when I saw them, so they're around. But yeah, you get lots and lots of different types. But yeah, I'll tell you, you'll see the brown-headed parrots. You often hear them before you even see them. I'm surprised we actually haven't seen any just sitting up in the sun. The light is so orange right now. It is so rich. I think it would kind of oversaturate pictures. But it's pretty nonetheless. It's very nice. Okay. It's going to be to try and find Tristan. We're going to play a game of let's track Tristan down. Tristina. That's a nickname that he forgot to tell you all. But he's also called Tristina Tumbelina. That might be my favorite nickname of all times for Tristan. Now, somebody else that's driving into the oversaturated golden light is Tristan. I'm going to put my tracking skills to the test and see if I can find him.
You're going to try and find me, Taylor? Okay. Good luck. I'm sure you're going to have a bit of a tricky time because unless Louise gives you insider information, you're not going to be able to find me very easily. My GPS also is not working on Rusty, I don't think, which makes it a bit more tricky for even Louise to know where I am. But Louise should know the roads well enough that she should be able to guess where exactly I'm going. So you know exactly where I am now. Let's listen to what Taylor has got to say now. Yes, go ahead, Taylor McCurdy. Now she's not answering me. So she calls me and then she doesn't answer me. Yes, go ahead, Taylor. Yeah, just checking around on the eastern side of the property, where you know. Copy. You're more than welcome to try find me. The east is a big place. So she's trying to find out where exactly I am at the moment, but she's going to have a bit of a struggle to find me because we've been very vague. I've just told her I'm in the east, but we are slowly but surely heading south now. She's not going to find me in the right place. The problem is if she comes along central, I'm going to have to be quite quick about it, and what I need to do is reverse up and down where exactly I go, and we'll test her tracking skills. But she is going to try and find me, I am sure of it, knowing Taylor McCurdy. This is now going to become a game where she can try and see if she can track me down, and given that Yuma is not the biggest property, I wouldn't be surprised if she can actually get it right. But we'll try and avoid her as best we can at this stage of the game. Now, time for an animal to pop out though. This is what happens when we have no animals for 2 drives. As things get a bit off the rails slightly, and we end up kind of more nonsense than we actually do anything else. Although we've had a good day birding. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed doing a bit of birding for a change. We've had so many animals of late that our birding's taken a bit of a back seat in some regards, and so it's really nice that we've had a chance to kind of look at some of the birds, and not a bad afternoon getting birds on camera. Proud cat mama, the largest bird in South Africa is an ostrich. Largest birds everywhere you go at this game. So that is the largest birds we see. You do get ostriches here at Djuma. Very seldom will they be seen on Djuma, but they sometimes kind of move around. Now Taylor's calling me again. She's evidently quite bored at this stage of the game, and so I'm just going to let her call and see, pretend like my radio is not working. I can see a game drive vehicle across there. They're obviously going to Buffelshoek Dam. I can tell them right now that there's nothing happening at Buffelshoek Dam, not even Scuba Steve is in residence. And Louise, you best not be feeding in insider information to know how you two are. I'm going to have to be neutral in this one. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Louise. Louise says she's on my side because last year this time, Louise and I and Megan and who was with Camops? Wiem. And Craig, Craig, you were in the Mara already. It was Wiem and Senzo. Yes. That Wiem, Senzo, Megan, Louise and myself at one point, and yes, it was quiet times at Djuma when there was just 4 of us on duty. It made life a little bit tricky, and so we bonded over a lot of work that we all had to do. And so, Taylor, what do you want? Hold on. Go ahead, Taylor. Copy that. Thank you very much. Taylor's just giving me an update as to where she's going to be checking, and she says she's sorry that she's bugging me while I'm live. Is she really? Probably not. No, I'm joking. She is. She's just said she wanted to double check what plans are for this afternoon. So that's the plan so far, is that Taylor is going to go check more towards the north, and she's going to try and see maybe if she can find that line that we had tracks for, and I'm going to head more south. Any animal right now, what would it be? Any animal that occurs here or any animal in the world? I suppose occurs here. Let's just keep it real for a second. Any animal that occurs here, there's 2, to be honest, that I would really wish. And I know it's being a bit greedy, but there's 2. One would be a striped weasel. I know, odd, but I've never seen one here. And the other one would be a caracal. So those are the 2 that I haven't seen in the Sabi Sands. So I'd like to see either one of those. But I wouldn't say no to Tumba also just popping up in front of us. Hello, impalas. Seen any leopards around here? Caracals? Striped weasels? No. No, okay. None of you are listening. They all just looked at me as though I'm bonkers, which we know we are, but I'd really appreciate if you guys would spot us a leopard. You've been awfully quiet today, all of you. They're not listening, are they? They're too busy feeding. You can see there's a very pregnant female in the background. Show their tummies quite heavily at the moment. They really are getting quite big. There's a young one from last year in front, which will not be showing a heavy pregnant tummy just yet. Next year, it will be able to breed and start to have a little one. But until then, it's going to have to wait. It's still too young to have babies. But nice little mixed herd, and it's all kind of milling about. Right, now that Taylor has bugged me live, it's time to send you to her so that I can get some peace and quiet to the little pygmy sister.
That's what you think. But remember how you said I was never going to be able to find you? Joke's on you, Tristan, because guess who's around the corner? Look, it's the irresistible Tristan Dix. Now, I was driving around here because we'd come from Gallagher Pan, and I was coming up to check. It's one of my favorite roads. Gotcha. Where are you going? No, that makes me nervous. Tristan is now getting out of the car. You just need to stretch your leg. What are you going to do? Look, watch. How old's Tristan? He's about 12 today.
There you go, Taylor. We're just going to sprinkle some sand.
playback. If only it was rainy and we had mud. Wouldn't it be more entertaining? Oh, there's Craig. Hey, Craig. Craig. Okay. You're lucky it's not been raining. Can you imagine then? Mud wars. Mud wars would be a disaster. Clay line. Yes.
You can explain it.
Bye.
Have fun. Taylor, did you see that we're also matching again today?
Oh, wait, we've got to show everybody. Okay, wait, we'll get out. We'll model. But hang on, I've got a crisis at the moment because I feel like you did earlier. Didn't you have the same thing happen to you?
No, my binoculars get stuck in my...
Your binoculars?
In my radio. Have you had that when the strap gets
Oh,
stuck in the
that's
radio?
the worst.
I know, the absolute worst.
Okay. Oh, but I haven't got my shirt tucked in. Okay, hang on, wait.
That's okay,
Another step back.
What? It's just a... Do you need to go back further?
I'll take a step back. Yeah,
How
there
far?
you go.
They just make it feel marathon.
Oh no, I'm exhausted.
There we go.
And we've got matching...
Shoes, and do we have grey socks?
No, but we've got the...
Matching mark.
Yeah, but there's no
We
issue.
also have
Oh
grey
yeah,
socks.
we've got grey socks, look.
So both of us have grey socks.
Grey socks, what colour are you?
This is the one with uniform.
This is basically, what colour is your underwear? No, I'm just joking. But yeah, we're almost... Justin also, can I tell you what happened? It's a funny story actually.
Yeah.
So I got a phone call from the fella that owns the khaki shop in Hoedspruit.
Yes.
And
No.
I'm not even joking. So he phoned me and he says, you won't believe what happened. This guy just walked into the shop and he said he works on the show SafariLive, and he says that his best friend in the whole wide world came in earlier and had bought a brand new hat, me, and he wanted to get exactly the same as I did, so I had to point him in the right direction. Look, so now we match.
We do. We have the exact same hats now. Look at that. I know, I couldn't help it, Taylor. Your style is just too good, so unfortunately I had to get the same hat as you.
So funny.
Luckily
so
the guy
funny.
pointed me in the right direction. Would have been awkward if I'd got a different
It
one.
would have been very awkward if we had different. No, this is all coincidence. All a coincidence.
No,
Okay,
that's actually a gem.
head past giraffe dip quickly. Yeah. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I love a good close-up, hey David? That's the best. Right. Get it untangled. Let me push my earpiece back in. Okay. I think I'm ready now. Now I've got all the sand everywhere. Where's my cleaning cloth? What a disaster. I've lost it. I did have one because I was cleaning today. I've misplaced it.
What about this?
This is perfect. Feathers from an ostrich. I didn't, but that's what these feathers are. They are ostrich feathers, and we don't see very many ostriches in the Sabi sand, unfortunately, but they are around occasionally, and well, that's what they're mainly, most of the time they're used for in South Africa. Well, their feathers are used for feather dusters, which is quite great. I don't know if the impala appreciate me sweeping. No, actually they don't mind. And yes, also the meat is quite... We're dust free. Thank you for that. That was fantastic. Now I'm filthy though. I've got dirt all over me. I might have to take a bath, and Buffles look, damn. Tristan takes one look at me and he's like, you haven't showered for a week, basically. But it's always because I rubbed my hands on my pants after I picked up all of the sand. It's funny how we all ended up matching. Isn't it weird? So we almost have matching belts too, but they're both made in Kenya, but my belt is a whole lot. Dina K, I actually don't know how hollow an ostrich's bones actually are, because they don't fly, so they wouldn't really need hollow bone. So that's a great question. I also don't think I've ever seen ostrich bones before, which is bizarre, because when I was working down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, there's so many ostriches, and yeah, I just never came across a dead. I once watched a spotted hyena, which is like the only spotted hyena I've ever seen down there. Try and nip one. Oh, hang on, here's Tristan standing by. Oh, it's only a pleasure. Cool. Right, so Tristan I think is going to head a little bit further to the west now. I think we might actually just take Sydney's Dam and then come back across, maybe check the wet again just in case. I thought Tristan will head back towards Treehouse Dam where I don't actually know what the date there was, so I'm not going to make it up, but something about Hosanna around in that area. Oh, right, it seems as though the Grims are attacking us now, so off you go, back to Tristan.
Yes, Taylor, the Gremlins are a feisty bunch in that area. Hyena Road. In summer they get even worse. They populate in summer, they be all over the place. But while we were driving away from Taylor, we actually saw a very cool sight. I couldn't see exactly which bird of prey it was, but it looked like a shikra, sparrowhawk, that kind of size, carrying a baby starling and two starlings mobbing it. So it's been a bad day in the starling world between the African harrier hawk and the smaller birds of prey. The starling population has been dented by 2 today, which is not ideal. Oh, hello, giraffe. Are you coming for an after? There's a giraffe coming down towards the dam. Let's see where he's going to go. I wonder if he'll go and drink at the camera if we go and park there. Giraffe are nervous drinkers, and so often they don't like to drink if you're too close. So let's go and have a little look. Are you going towards the dam, Cam? Looks like he might be heading in that general direction. Nice, beautiful, big giraffe. I'm not sure if Taylor actually saw this giraffe today. I think she must have, because she came this way when she started drive. So I'd imagine this is the drive we saw right in the beginning. That we saw right in the beginning of the drive. I can't even speak. I don't know what's wrong with me. Can't actually speak today. But anyway, what I meant to say is the giraffe from the beginning of drive. There we go. Well done. You can also hear a little scops owl calling. Gold star for me, thank you, Louise. Yes, I feel like I've earned my little noddy badge gold star today that we get at Wild Earth. You get yourself a little gold star, and then the person with the most gold stars at the end of the year gets a big star. No, I'm just joking. There's no such system at all. Although the way that we behave sometimes in camp would probably be a good thing, to give out gold stars for good behavior, because there's very little of it generally that goes on in amongst the staff. There's all kinds of shenanigans that happen all the time. Yes, morning meeting gold star of the day. Louise, what do you think? For the team member that comes up with the best performance the day before. That makes everybody else happy. But off it goes. Salivating giraffe. Yes, employee of the day gold star award. That's what we'll implement in our morning meetings from now on, and see how we go and see who comes out with the best one. But we'll have to start from next year, Louise. It's too late now. Or we can do December Gold Star of the Day for Christmas present. That's what we can do. So whoever gets the most gold stars gets a crew Christmas present. That's what I think. That's a cool idea. I probably will not be high up on that list. What's this flying here? Egyptian geese. For a second I thought it might be knob-billed ducks coming in, but now that they're hissing and honking and making a noise, it's definitely not. But knob-billed ducks should be starting to come soon. Well done, Craig. Good tracking work through the nice orange sky. Pity about all the aerials, but otherwise well done. They're off, I think, to Tumberty Dam is where they're heading, by the looks of things. Anyway, let's carry on. I want to do a quick swing by. I'm just checking the time now as to how much we've got left to drive. I want to do a quick swing by Treehouse Dam. Little Hosanna has decided to wake up, so I'm going to try and catch a little bit of a kind of hurry on to try and get into that area. Otherwise I'm not going to have enough time to get past there. What we might do, I'm just trying to think which way I'm going to go. I want to come, let's go from the eastern side, so we'll take Elephant Carcass, I think, from Twin Dams, and just go straight across to Treehouse and see if we can pick up anything on that side. Maybe we get lucky and Hosanna is coming down to drink. It's the right time of the day for it. Ghana has not shown up. He's definitely on a kill somewhere. We haven't heard him sawing. He hasn't walked anywhere. I'm sure he's found himself a meal in that horrible, blustery, cold, overcast, rainy weather the other day. I reckon Tingana found a decent sized meal and has been sitting on that, because there's been no sign of him for 2 days now. So I believe a lot of you reckon our star rating idea. I agree. It would also be nice to we'll have to do a post on it every single day, the star of the day. For like I said, it'll be for December period. So star of the day, and we'll buy something. I don't know. We'll get like a box of chocolates, so that person gets a chocolate on their day when they've achieved a star, and then the one with the most stars by the 25th will get a Christmas present from the rest of the crew. Maybe we should start in November, because otherwise there's not very much time. It's only 25 days, and we have more than that in crew numbers. So see how it goes. Well, there goes Wahlbergs. Exactly, Louise. November we get automatic gold stars because it's our birthday. If it's your birthday, you get an extra gold star if you do something amazing too. So birthday months, that's always a good thing. Who else is in November? Craig, when are you? October. November as well. Craig's also a November baby. So it's November is Craig, myself, Louise. Who else is in November? Scott used to be in November. He's the day before me. Is anybody else? I think that's just it as far as I remember. It's just the three of us. Oh no. Oh well, it's okay. It's still a good month, Louise. The best month to be born in here in South Africa. It's the start of summer. The weather is warm. Things are sunny. It's a good time to be born. Craig, any plans? Craig actually has got a big birthday coming up this year. Craig is turning the big 30, aren't you, Craig? Yes, Craig is turning 30 years old this year, which means we'll have to Craig and do a nice party for him. Louise, we're going to have to come up with something nice. Maybe Batman theme party. Everyone has to dress up as Batman except Craig, and then Craig can walk around and do his. So that's what I think we're going to do. We're going to do a Batman themed 30th birthday for Batman and see how what else we can do. We'll have to have some treats for Batman. Turning 30 is a big milestone, Batters. It's you know, you're now considered to be going on the downhill slope, Craig. Craig's just laughing. No, Craig, I can promise you 30, you know, 30 is the new 20, Craig. It's okay in the 30s. I've done it now for a little bit and it's okay. It's not as scary as it sounds. You'll be just fine, Craigie, don't worry. I know you're nervous, but we as a crew will hold your hand through the process and you'll be okay. It's a pleasure, Craig. Sammy Jane, the feather duster, Taylor stole it from me. No, I'm joking. Apparently Craig found it on the road, so that feather duster actually is supposed to be on Rusty, and it fell off. But also then I thought, well, I'll clean my car. But then I decided, you know, this is an artwork by, you know, the legendary Taylor McCurdy, and, you know, these kind of art pieces are rare to come by, and so I shall leave it there for everybody to see, and maybe I'll even laminate over it on top of the car so that it will always be this art. That's what's the reason why I haven't cleaned it off yet. You know, these things are something that you just can't, you know, money can't buy this kind of artwork, and it's priceless. So, you know, I'm keeping it there. Who knows, this could be the next, you know, Mona Lisa when Taylor's a little bit older. So that's why I haven't brushed it off. Taylor likes to hide her art skills, but actually she's an artist at heart. She likes to paint. She paints all kinds of things, and in fact we'll have to get her to paint a before she leaves, because the time is running out, so we'll have to ask her to paint a picture for you. She's very shy about it. She doesn't like to tell everybody that she paints. She always says, no, you know, guys, I'm not that good. But she's lying to all of you. She's a very good painter, and she's particularly good at painting wildlife. So, you know, we'll ask her to paint something, and so while we kind of think about what we're going to ask Taylor to paint, let's send you across to Picasso and see what she's got to say for us.
Oh, this is such a beautiful afternoon. So lovely. Oh, sorry everybody. I didn't know you were there. I was just enjoying some sand art that I normally do in my spare time. This is what, when I'm not finding animals, this is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to add a few more things here. You know what? If we were here 5 minutes ago, the sun would have been about. Let's be creative. This is Wendy. It's supposed to be. You get it. A few trees. And then, of course, I've got to sign it, eh? In case someone tries to steal this masterpiece. Sammy Jane say? Banksy of the bush. Thank you, Sammy Jane. Thank you very much. If I had another hat, I'd do a hat trick for you. Not that I'm not talking about getting, you know, cricket hat trick. Yeah, no. Cool. Did you like my art, Davy? Yeah, should we have one more? Look at it. I'll even put a light on it. Look. I mean, wow. Oh my goodness. I think we're gonna have to get a TLB here. We're gonna have to get a TLB and dig this out of the ground. Maybe put plaster of Paris. We'll ask Ali to get us the plaster. Also cut line. You can see the sun, you can see the road, you can see the Drakensberg Mountains, and then that stuff on the right hand side is my signature, so that nobody steals my art. Here we go. Very nice. And there we go. That's what I painted. I mean, it looks identical. No one will be able to tell the difference. Giraffe Girl, you want me to take a photo and put it on my... I'm not going to get out the car again because it's a nightmare. I shall try and take a picture like this. I've taken over the SafariLive Instagram, by the way, so I shall put it on the stories. I don't want this light anymore. Let's turn it off. You see this one? No, maybe I can do without it. Let's do it like this. It's going to take some serious editing. No one is going to have any idea what that is. There we go. Louise is now saying it looks like it's out of focus. Well, there's a bunch of professionals out here. I don't see your sand art in the road on Buffelshoek boundary though. No, just true. Right. Everyone's now big control today, hey? They had a bowl of funny for lunch, obviously. Okay, we're going to carry on finding some animals now. I don't even know why I have spotlight out. It's completely useless at this hour. So we're pretty much just going to search, and we're going to look for things that can be silhouetted up in trees. So birds, leopards, monkeys, squirrels, bush babies, tree climbing impala, those kinds of things is what we're going to be looking for, silhouetted up in trees. Good time to try and spot owls, actually. So I think that's what we'll start our evening with. And then once it gets dark enough, we'll work onto the spotlight. We'll incorporate it within the game drive, and hopefully we'll spot something. Oh, there's a bird that's just flown away. It might be an owl. Oh no, we're never going to see that. It's disappeared now, unfortunately. It's no longer silhouetted, which means it becomes invisible. Okay. Right. I'm going to keep checking the tops of the trees. Nancy, Tristan is normally the one that sets me up for these preposterous stuff, and then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm just going to do it now. So yes, yeah, you kind of never expect what you'll get with me. I like that though. I'm unpredictable. I make a lot of people nervous, especially the directors, because they don't know which way something's going to go, and they don't know if they're going to have to press the crash cut button or the record. It goes either way with me. I like to keep people on their toes. Right. Those owls. I don't see any yet, but we'll maybe find them. Okay, wonderful. We'll keep searching away, listening out for hoo-hoos, and just let's have a competition. Let's see who can find an owl first.
Okay, Taylor McCurdy, let's see who can find an owl first. But bless you, Craig. Well, you're right back there. A bit of dust in the nostril. Yes. Thing behind me. Yes, everyone's sending bless yous, Craig. One from Louise. I'm pretty sure Alicia sent her bless you as well, and many viewers too. So don't worry, Craig. We've got your back covered when you're sneezing behind us. There are many people that are looking out for you and complimenting you on a sneeze well done. Do you feel better, Craig? Excellent. Well, you know, that's important. When one sneezes, one wants to feel better about life. So I'm glad that you are feeling slightly better about things. But we are going to try and find an owl. Hopefully we don't find an owl that goes woohoo, because that would be a very odd owl and probably one that we would need to look at very carefully, because I'm pretty sure it would. Now, apparently in more serious notes, there are birdless numbers. So what have we got? Let's hear. Louise, who is number 3? Hello? So Pat, is that now? Oh, you panicked, Louise. You've ruined. Okay, we'll start with number 1. So Pat, well done. You are number 1 apparently. 207 birds for Juma, which is a serious list. So 207 is very, very good. And 90 in the Mara, which makes 297 for a total number 1 grand total 297. You are so far in the lead on the birding list in between the 2 locations for birds on camera. Who was second, Louise? Oh, there's a whole bunch of people stopped for drinks. I'm ruining their drinks at Treehouse Dam. Oh no. Oh, oopsie, guys. Oh, this is panic. Cindy, you have 61 and I didn't catch how many on Juma, but a total of 225. My maths is not that quick, so I can't work backwards to give you the answer of how many she has on Juma. I'm sorry. But are we sure this is all everybody participating? Louise, are you giving me false information here by not working it out before giving it to me? Are you trying to make me calculate things in my head? 225, 61, 224 is 164, is it, on Juma? 164 and 61 is 225, yes, that's right. So 164 on Juma. Okay, well that's also very, very good. So well done to the 2 of you. 275. Oh, 275. I thought you said 225. See, Louise, you're making me look like I'm false advertising here. Sorry, I'm so sorry. 275. I need to listen better. So that means your Juma list would be 214 with 61 in the Mara. That's good. 214 in Juma is pretty good. I'm pretty sure I saw a figure the other day of somebody tagging me in a list of 235 on Juma or 2 something. I feel like somebody has got a list of around that many. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was just overthinking it. Who's in 3rd place? Ah. So Christine, who came to visit us actually recently, she spent some time in the camp with us. Christine, unfortunately you were here, so I'm quite sad about that. I heard that you had a wonderful time. I hope you had a wonderful time, but everybody here speaks very fondly of your time spent with us. And you have 265, is that right? Or 260 something in total for your bird list. So you are in number 3 position, or you are in 3rd position. That's better English. And so congratulations to the top 3. We shall build on those. The Mara lists are slacking. We need to get better Mara lists. 90 birds. Good enough. We as presenters need to certainly do a bit more birding in the Masai Mara, because there are a lot of birds up that side of the world, and we really should potentially have more. So we'll have to try and do better for all of you, so you can mark off some more birds on your list. But well done to everybody who participated, and thank you for sending that all through. Always nice to know kind of roughly what we're doing. I reckon that we should, by a certain time frame, I'm not sure what that time frame is, but bird list of over 400. If we really birded properly between the Mara and Juma, I think a bird list of 400 would be possible. It would be a stretch, but 400 would be roughly, I reckon, a really, really good number. Anyway, let's see. We can aim high and see how we go. Anyway, while I've been talking birds, Taylor has found herself a spot to admire the beautiful kind of colors that are showing on the western side of the reserve. She gazes upon the mountains.
We have, I couldn't resist without sort of stopping and showing you the beautiful view that we have. And so, of course, we're still on Buffelshoek cut line. This should look very familiar from the image that I drew in the sand. And it's just getting better and better. So, Darby, what happens if we drive really slowly towards it and we just do one of those little things? Because this road is particularly smooth. So I'm going to start the car very quickly. It's going to shake a little bit. And now, I'm sorry, I wish we were going downhill, but I might be able to switch a car off at some point. But I thought we would drive straight towards the mountains. Now you're going to see a little twinkling light, and that is, of course, the cities, the communities within the Lowveld area. A lot of them mainly will be communities, and then if you look kind of to the far sort of northwest, you should start to see Hoedspruit. I don't know if you can actually see. No, you can. I suppose those are all the lights down there, actually. We've got one bump to go, so I'm going to get a bit of speed here. I'm going to switch off. Now we're going to glide. This is so... Oh no, bumps. We don't want bumps. Trying to go smooth here. Isn't that gorgeous? Starting to see some to now, of course, as we go over the different bumps, you'll see the leveling of the camera kind of change. Doesn't it make you feel like you're on a boat with the way that the car kind of tilts like that? Ah, Louise is getting the echo. Lou thinks she's funny and she says things before me, but she doesn't. There's a delay. Oh wait, now I'm going off the road. Okay, right, we'll carry on. We're still looking for that. We only need one. Let's see if we can find it here. I did hear Scott all in camp last night, so that actually might not be a bad bet. Is perhaps heading back in that direction, which we will do in a minute. Just want to check one or two trees here. Don't know if we're getting lucky tonight. Goodness, when I first got back, we just couldn't stop near them, and now we struggle to even find one. Those of the bush. Right, and see, off you go back to Tristan.
Well, apparently attacking Taylor again, which is not ideal, so we're back with us. Now we are slowly but surely, the name gives us what it says. It would be nice, and hopefully it would be little well, not little, but big Tingana would be nice to pop out here, or Tani or Talalamba. They'd also be a nice animal to kind of see. So we're just driving slowly along, just checking very carefully as we go for any eyes and seeing if maybe, just maybe, where we are, or maybe we'll get lucky with just a glint at some. No, nothing there. It's been a tough day actually today, and I don't know why. I mean, the weather theoretically has come right from this cold spell, so we in all likelihood should have had a number of decent sightings, but it just seems as though everybody's kind of quiet, and I have a funny feeling that everyone's just sitting on kills. I think Tandi's made another one, and she's sitting on that. That's why I've got no tracks for her coming out. And Tingana on a kill, Hosana we know is on a kill, Shadulu I don't know where she I think we're not seeing any of our leopards is that they're all feasting after that inclement weather. They probably all got a decent meal and have just been finishing it up, and maybe tomorrow then we'll start to see a lot more movement of our cats after they've now had a few days to actually digest what they've got. So I'm hoping that's the case. It's just been abnormally quiet today. It's one of the quietest days I've had in many months on Juma, just from a point of view that we haven't even had anything to follow up on. You know, normally if we have a quiet somewhere and we just fail to find that animal and struggle to actually just see where it's gone, but when you have a day like today where you I have not heard a single track being called in, bar the lion track that I called in this morning. There's not been one other track that's been called in by another game drive vehicle for any cat during the course of today, which is both morning and afternoon, which is very, very, very unusual. You do not see that often here at Djuma, so I wonder why. Linda Bowley, you say, come on, last minute leopards. Yes, indeed, we need to kind of push that vibe, and hopefully we'll get lucky with one just popping out on one of these roads somewhere. Ah, well done, Craigie. That's very cool. There's a pearl-spotted owlet right here in front of us. I think it's a pearl-spotted. Yes, it looks like it. We win the challenge. Taylor, we win. 1-1 for Taylor and myself. She found me on drive and I found an owl first. But isn't that a very cool view of an owl? That's about as good as you could ever ask for. It's definitely a pearl spotted. You can see the little eye spots on the back. Hello. Oh, she's saying hello back. How cool is that? That's such a good view. Surprised that this owl hasn't flown away. It's going to fly now, though. I think it's looking a bit twitchy, isn't it? No, Taylor. No. Taylor says it doesn't count because I have to spot it. Taylor, it is an owl on the screen, which therefore means we win the challenge, I'm afraid. So, unfortunately for you, we found an owl before you do. This is a team vehicle. Craig and I are not individuals on your hair, Craig. We're teamwork makes the dream work, Craig. That's exactly right. So, Taylor, I'm afraid you've lost the challenge for this evening. So we managed to get not just an owl sighting, but probably one of the most spectacular views of a pearl-spotted owlet I've had in many, many, many years. So that was very cool. I mean, it's right here, literally, that it was on the tree. I'm so surprised it sat for as long as it did. That was absolutely epic. Very cool. Well done, Craigie. I was too busy looking in the spotlight and thinking about had his eye on the prize. Very, very cool. The drongos are not so happy though to have seen that owl fly around. They're still buzzing about for some reason. So Natalie, you say it may have been a quiet drive, but it's been most entertaining. Well, I hope so, Natalie. I'm sorry that Taylor and I are a bunch of clowns and that we are just hooligans. I do apologize about these things. You know, sometimes when we get a bit kind of, I don't know what the word is for it, but when there's nothing else going on, our imaginations tend to run wild a little bit, and so there's nobody else that can goof around like Taylor and drag me into it as much as she does. I suppose Ali as well and Byron, when the two of them were here with Taylor, it was an absolute nightmare because it was just constant laughing and constant messing about. So those three together actually, they make me laugh a lot, but they also are all over the place, the three of them. So Ali, Byron and Taylor is a great combination when having a bit of fun, and so it's been, at least we've had a bit of fun as well, Taylor and I, and it's, you know, her days that she's going to be here are limited, and so you know, best we have a bit of fun while she's still here and enjoy it, then and be sulky about the fact that we haven't seen too many animals. Good. Anyway, let's send you back across to Taylor, see what she thinks about the fact that she lost her own challenge, and see whether or not she's going to try and redeem herself with an owl of her own.
Obviously, I'm going to try and redeem myself now. And of course, I came up with a reason as to why Tristan couldn't have won. We're going to try now, but well done. And a scops owl. Southern white-faced or African scops, Lou. Why did he found a scops owl? Did you also hear scops owl? Darby also thought it was a scops owl. Anyways, Louise is not particularly good at birding. Wait, is that an owl? Is that an owl there? You said flying, or is it a bat? Carson, your ears are blocked. That's true, they are. I could have heard anything. I think I just saw an owl flying. It could have also been a bat, though. Let's go with owl. I don't know where it landed. I'm hoping in this tree here. Let me check. Let me silhouette scan the tree. I can't see anything on there. Oh, that makes me so sad. Oh, and said that I can beat Tristan with a smile, but now you know I want to do the creepiest smile that I possibly can. Are you ready? I hear a cricket. I can't say that out loud, Louise. Where is the cricket? I know it's a massive cricket. It's probably a male. No, I'm not sending you to Tristan. I'm sorry. You're going to stay with me until we find an owl. Right, we're going to carry on down this road now. And we're not going to stop searching. Oh, hang on, Taxon. Go, Tax. I tried to trick him earlier and pretend like I had something. He started laughing. Standing by, Taxon. Now he's just called me. Tax, can you copy me? Trist, where are you? Quickly go then, I'm still on Voyatella access. Okay, I know that something's happening at Treehouse Dam. He says, come quickly. Oh, we don't have enough time. Hey, how much time do we have? Oh no, we've only got 6 minutes. Copy, thanks so much, Tax. What do you have? Let's quickly find out what he has. We won't make it there, unfortunately. Can you confirm what you have? Darby, are you looking for owls? Because I stopped looking. I'm the worst at this game. I issue a challenge and I'm not even playing it. Okay, I don't know. Taxon has got photographs, so he might just be concentrating. Something is happening at Treehouse Dam, but unfortunately Tristan and I are both just too far away and we don't have much time left. And now I can't get hold of him to find out what he actually has. Louise, are you even still with me, or have you crash cut away to Tristan to see his owl and now I'm just rambling on about absolutely nothing? Right. Where is our owl? I don't know where our owl is. What happens if we the civet? Do we win then? Sana that has arrived at Treehouse Dam, so 10 points to Tristan because he did say there was going to be a Treehouse Dam, right? And I'm really annoyed that I have to send you back to him, but whatever.
Well, Taylor, you should be, because this is now the third owl we've seen. Taylor refused to link just now, and we had another one, a third one that we've managed to find. And we're not on the same road anymore. It's not the same individual, so it's a thorough thrashing of Taylor in terms of her owl challenge. We've been on fire. So 3 pearl-spotted owlets in the space of 5 minutes, and I think that we've done bleak about Hosanna, because there's a reason why I didn't go there. Sorry, I'm using a spotlight a bit because the IR, it's a little bit far for the IR to actually reach properly. Spotlight lowish down, so I do apologize about the flicker every now and then. But the reason why we didn't go past Treehouse Dam the way that I wanted to go was because we saw, so I didn't really want to disrupt them. But had we taken the right road, we would have bumped into Hosanna right there. So the plan that he was going to come to Treehouse Dam was, and I'm pretty sure he's going to head up towards the main dam and Vuatela Pan. So be on the lookout if you're watching the dam cam. I'm pretty sure Hosanna during the course of this evening, if that carcass is finished. But at least our plan was right. Our timing was slightly off, and people stopping at to stop things a little bit. But I'm very, very happy with our ability to have found owls today. Lindsay, not much, just size more than anything else. Owlets are all the small owls, so bar and pearl spotted, and then you've got, you know, your bigger owls are referred to as just plain owls, but there's not really much difference in terms of them. They essentially biology and shape and size is just really, size is really what kind of separates them. Right, do you reckon we can find another one? There's lots of pearl spotted and scops owls here. That's why when Taylor issued the challenge, it's the reason why I'm actually driving here more than anything. Craig also knows this, and Byron too. Is probably the only other two that know about this little road. Wahlberg's Nest Road has over it. If you want to see pearl spotted and Scopsowls, this is where you drive. You just check around here, and they sit on all these little black monkey oranges. It's a really good place to check for them. Barred owlets as well. So when you want an owl challenge, don't tell anyone, but come to try and find them. And like I say, so far successful. 3 owls in 5 minutes is not bad at all, and they're definitely not the same owls in places completely, and drove off leaving most of them still sitting, bar that last one. Anyway, good, I suppose. Fun was had, and that's always what counts. Tomorrow's another day, Taylor. We can have a different challenge tomorrow. Maybe a chameleon before you leave. Now that we've had a bit of precipitation, we might get a few chameleons coming out, but any more signs about... Oh, there's a white-tailed mongoose. So we've got a white-tailed mongoose that's on the radar. No, there it goes. You can see it running away. Oh no, white-tailed mongoose ran off there. I'm sorry, it was a brief view, but a view nonetheless. Anyway, it's that time of the day where goodbye. It's been a wonderful afternoon. I hope that you've enjoyed the drive. I know it's been full of shenanigans, and I do apologize, but anyway, hopefully it was fun. Myself, Louise, Camops, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you all tomorrow morning on our sunrise safari.